Good morning to every participant gathered in this meeting. We'd want to issue you a warm welcome to this consultative meeting between the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, together with the leadership of all primary schools in this country. This meeting today brings together all regional, county, and sub-county directors of education. It brings together all chairpersons and members of boards of management. It brings together all head teachers, all deputy teachers, and all senior administrative officers who deal with matters finance, accounts, procurement, and internal audit. So before I proceed to formally recognize the members in this forum, I'd like to call upon Madam Nelly Mwangi from the State Department for Basic Education to say a prayer. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning. Let us pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we come before you. Want to thank you for the gift of this day and for bringing us together for the important engagement in the service of education and our country. We are grateful for the leadership present here today, the Head of Public Service, the Principal Secretary, directors from the Ministry of Education, regional and county directors of education, TSC officials, heads of institutions, deputies, BOM members, and administrative teams. Thank you for the responsibility you have entrusted on us in shaping the future of our children. As we listen to the address and engage in the deliberations ahead, we ask for your wisdom, understanding, and unity of purpose. Guide our leaders as they speak and guide us as we all listen. Reflect and commit ourselves to improving our institutions and supporting the success of every child. Bless our nation, bless our schools, and bless the work of our hands. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Nelly Mwangi from the State Department for Basic Education. Again, I just want to be able to say on behalf of the Office of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei, on behalf of the State Department for Basic Education, led by the Principal Secretary, Ambassador Julius Bitok. Also on behalf of the Teachers Service Commission, led by the Chairperson, Mr. Jamlek Muturi, I just want to warmly welcome you to this meeting. And as I said, that has been called to be able to have a conversation with the leadership of primary schools. We are excited that you could be able to join us from wherever that you're gathered in. The head of public service yesterday had a great meeting with those from the secondary school division, and we believe that today is going to be no less. I just want to also draw attention to members within our forum here today who require sign language services, that we have Madam Linda Chebet, who is providing those services, and you'll be able to follow. We thank you, Linda, and your colleague who will be assisting us from the National Council for Persons with Disability. Thank you so much for your service. So allow me to acknowledge the presence of the chief guest, who is the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei, who's in this forum. Allow me to recognize the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Basic Education, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, the Principal Administrative Secretary in the Executive Office of the President, Mr. Arthur Osia, the Chairman of the Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Jamlek Muturi John, the CEO of the Teacher Service Commission, Madam Evelyn J. Mitei, other senior officers gathered in this meeting from the three offices that I mentioned, that is the Office of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, State Department for Basic Education, as well as the Teacher Service Commission, distinguished officers from across government who are in this meeting. I also want to recognize, and of course, we reserve a very special welcome for each one of you who's gathered in this meeting, you participants who have logged in from this entire country, the length and breadth of it, whether you are logged in individually or you're sat together in groups. We just want to warmly welcome you to this meeting. For the few hours we shall be together, you are required to be in this meeting from the start to the end, so that you can be able to get all the messages that have been planned for you. So I just want to be able to just appeal to you that let us work together from the beginning until the end. Then I just want to explain some brief protocols for this meeting so that we're able to at least use the entire facility to the maximum. One, please introduce yourself in the chat section. I see members are introducing themselves. Some are saying hi, some are saying, good morning, but you've not identified your name, you've not said your name, you've not said your designation, and also have not provided the county from where you come. So we'd request that you would be able to tell us what county you're coming from, your designation, as well as your name. Your friend from another county may see that and may reach out to you, even on this chat forum, which is, if you click to the bottom, you see the word chat. Kindly click on that to introduce yourself. And you can also right-click on that chat section to see that you can also be able to send messages directly to persons you may be interested in, maybe someone that you've seen that you know. In this forum, you can be able to do so. I also want to draw your attention to the Q&A section, which is at the bottom of the screen again. The Q&A section is for you to ask questions for which you would like a response. There's a big team from the State Department for Basic Education, from the Teachers Service Commission, as well as from the Office of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, who are gathered here and are ready to respond to your questions. If you ask an individual question, for example, you're asking a specific question about yourself, you obviously will not receive a response on this forum, but you can be able to state it generally, and they will contact you so that they can be able to take that up with you. I also want to draw your attention to the fact that this meeting is in a webinar format. That means that all our microphones have been muted, except those of the speakers. And just to let you know that there'll be a plenary section a bit ahead in the program. And in the plenary section, this is for you, wherever you're gathered. Use the bottom of the screen where it says raise hand. When we tell you that the plenary section is just about, then you can use that to be able to raise your hand and ask a question that concerns what has been presented here or any other issue that you'd like to be able to make a comment about. However, use the Q&A section, as I said, to ask those questions. And then you can be able to use the chat section to make comments. And let us keep our comments and questions respectful so that at least we can have a clean engagement. I also want to be able to say that these materials from this meeting, including this recording, will be sent to all of you on the email addresses that you have used to get into this meeting. Remember, in this meeting, we are both on Zoom and on the YouTube page of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei. Mr. Felix Koskei has various social media handles, of which you're encouraged to visit. You're encouraged to like as well as subscribe so that you can get more information from him when he provides information as the head of the public service or is alerting you of what is going on. So the name Felix Koskei, you can be able to, and Koskei here is Koskei, Felix Koskei. You'll find his social media pages on Facebook, on X, and on TikTok. So please use those social media handles to be able to follow, like, subscribe, so that you can be able to get more information. We shall get information from the State Department for Basic Education about their social media handles, as well as we shall get information from the Teachers Service Commission about their social media handles. So with that, I want to just say again, karibuni sana. We are excited that all our primary schools are going to be represented here today. There's no one who is in their current jobs that did not go through a primary school. So we are happy to be able to record that fact, and we welcome your participation, and that from this meeting going forward, there can be more interactions where at least we can learn more from the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, as well as the State Department for Basic Education and the Teachers Service Commission. With that, I want to welcome my colleague, Collins Kiprono, to make brief remarks that set the context for this meeting. But before Collins comes in, I want to welcome Mr. Arthur Osia, the Principal Administrative Secretary in the Office of the Chief of Staff, to undertake the formal welcome. Mr. Arthur Osia, karibu sana.
Thank you, Linda. the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Koske, the Teachers Service Commission team, led by the Chair, Jamlik Muturi, Basic Education team, today led by the Director of Primary Education, Mr. Barongo, all regional, county, and sub-county directors of education, all chairpersons and members of boards of management, all head teachers, all deputy head teachers, all senior administrative officers, including heads of finance, accounts, procurement, and audit. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Allow me to warmly welcome all of you to this session, bringing together all the leaderships of our public primary schools in Kenya as part of the continued series of consultative engagements. This forum is as a result of recognition by the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service of primary school head teachers as an integral members of the public service and the beacons of the constitutional values and principles of public service. Colleagues, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service has been undertaking deliberate and structured series of engagements to strengthen coherence, deliberate and structured series of engagements to strengthen coherence, reinforce unity of purpose, and sharpen strategic focus across the public service. These engagements form part of the broader revitalization and re-energization campaign, which is a central reform initiative under the leadership of the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, aimed at consolidating progress, deepening institutional alignment, and renewing our collective commitment to disciplined, results-driven service delivery. As part of this campaign, the leadership of our public primary schools are now a key focus on this targeted engagement. While the reform agenda applies across the entire public service, specific sectors were required to get tailored messaging and strategic emphasis to address unique operational realities and accelerate measurable performance improvements. I'm pleased to report that through the leadership of the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, this reform agenda has gained significant traction across the public service. To date, the office has undertaken extensive engagements across the ecosystem, including holding consultations with our regulatory authorities and agencies, meetings with the leadership of all our public universities, including chancellors, vice chancellors, council members, deans, and registrars. The office has also engaged the leaderships of all our TVET institutions, including chairpersons of councils and boards, principals, deputy principals, and heads of departments. The office has also convened meetings with all heads of human resource function across the public service. Equally, engagements have been held with the public finance management officers, including heads of internal audit, finance officers, accountants, and procurement officers. We also have had engagements with all public officers of all cadres across all duty stations within and outside the country. Additionally, an engagement with the leadership of all our research institutions was held with the same messaging. The office has also engaged all the national administration officers and GAOs, and the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service has also engaged with all transport officers, administrators, and all drivers of government vehicles in the Republic of Kenya. Yesterday, the Head of Public Service also had an extensive engagement with the leadership of all our public secondary schools. The plan is to now sustain and deepen this sensitization drive by extending the same reform message to the leadership of public primary schools across the country today. The objective is to ensure that this revitalization and re-energization agenda reaches every level of governance and every corner of the Republic, embedding a culture of accountability, discipline, and results-oriented service throughout the public service architecture. It is important to point out here that as we held meetings, the consultative meetings with the national administrative officers and GAOs, the chiefs and assistant chiefs were very key in portraying the image and the character of this government. Equally, basic education as an elaborate structure that is equal to that of the GAOs and the primary school leaderships we are holding with today, in view of the Head of Public Service, as an elaborate structure that equally portrays government to the lowest unit. Therefore, we as heads and leaders of primary schools should note that everything we do portrays what this administration is all about. Therefore, there is no need to give more emphasis on the importance of this meeting, but simply to say you are an important cog in the delivery of public service. Above all, we must ensure that whatever we do translates into a lived experience for our citizens, that our citizens feel, our citizens judge, and our citizens experience the public service as responsive, as caring, as being accountable, and fully connected to their needs and aspirations. I therefore want to urge all of us as leaders in this sector to cascade this message throughout our respective institutions. The conversation must continue at every level, including our security officers who stand at our gates, until the change we seek becomes visible, becomes tangible, and unmistakable to the citizens we serve. Our host and chief guest this morning, Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, due to other developments, the Principal Secretary, Basic Education, Professor Julius Bitok, was not able to be with us because he has an urgent assignment outside town. And with these few remarks, I now want to take this opportunity to invite our host and chief guest, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, to make his welcoming remarks and make his main remarks later at the end of this meeting. Welcome, sir.
Brian, are we set for the Chief of Staff to make his remarks?
Thank you very much, Linda. All the county and the sub-county directors of education, all chairpersons, and members of the boards of primary schools, all head teachers of public primary schools, deputies, school administration, and all those who have managed to log in. Good morning. I want to really take this opportunity to welcome all of us to this virtual meeting. I want to acknowledge and commend those who have managed to be on board in this platform. We want to have a session with you, the way we have had with others, to have a discussion on how to manage our schools, on the issues of accountability, issues of integrity, issues of efficiency and effectiveness in our day-to-day operations of our schools. And this is one of the approaches that we are deploying to ensure that the government operates as one unit. The government will operate as an efficient institution that will give room to each and every one of us to contribute. I want again to assure all of us and inform each and every teacher, each and every head teacher, each and every board member, the chairs, that you are part of public servants, as it were. And therefore, your contribution to the development of this country, your contribution to the development and the enhancement of integrity and transparency in the management of public affairs is so critical that you have to be brought on board so that we can work together as one team. Otherwise, I will have a keynote speech at the end of the meeting, and I want to ask all of us to be attentive, to listen to the people who are going to present, and also to comment when you get time, and also to give suggestions so that we can also enrich our knowledge in as far as making our government to become more efficient. We know that primary schools have a lot of challenges. Primary schools as the critical unit of governance in as far as learning is concerned. We are here to listen to you. We are here to partner together so that we can make this country great. So welcome once again, and let us engage as we are proceeding for the next 2 hours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for those words of welcome, sir, the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service. We continue to be together in this meeting. I just want to recognize student leaders who are in this meeting, who are also members of the boards of management. Please feel welcome, and we're happy that you could join us. Without further ado, I call upon, in the following order, my colleague Collins Kiprono to be able to make his brief remarks on the context, the setting of the context. He will be followed by Mr. Stephen Barongo, the Director, Primary Education from the State Department for Basic Education. Kindly make your presentations in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Linda Musumba, the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service, the Chairperson TSC, the CEO TOC, our past EOP, the County and Sub-County Directors of Education, our head teachers, our deputy head teachers, our BOM chairpersons, and everyone. Good morning. I'll take the next 10 to 12 minutes just to set context on why we are here this morning. And even before I dive into the context, perhaps most of our teachers and our BOM members are actually engaging with the Office of the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service for the first time. I'll be able just in the next 3 minutes to say what it does. So this is an office that is established under the Constitution, together with the National Government Coordination Act, that is Act number 4 of 2024, and with particular reference to section number 8, which establishes the office of the Head of Public Service. And when you go under to subsection 6B, it provides that the Head of Public Service shall double up as the Chief of Staff to the President. What in a very high level fashion, what does the Office of the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service? This office communicates for and on behalf of the President. This is the office that does all the management on behalf of the President of the Republic of Kenya. And these functions were further crystallized under Executive Order number 1 of 2025, which codified 8 high-level functions. And this morning, I'll be speaking to the 6 of them, which you can see in the slide that is before you. And these 6 high-level functions are as follows. Number 1, the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service is the administrative head of the Executive Office of the President. And by performing these functions, is in charge of the presidency, is the front office of the Office of the President in running all the administrative functions, apologies, of the Office of the President on behalf, again, of the President. The second mandate, as espoused and under the Executive Order number 1, is the overarching mandate over all public entities. And what do we mean by public entities? A public entity is any entity that renders any service and uses public resources and performs any public functions on behalf of the citizenry, that is citizens in Kenya. And that being a public entity, all schools fit within this definition of the public service. And again, this service is rendered, Jared Olwich, you can kindly mute. This function is rendered again on behalf of the President and at the behest of the President to ensure that the government of Kenya functions in a smooth manner. The third function is the promotion of ethics, good governance, and efficiency and effectiveness in the provision and deployment of rightful skills, values, and leadership within the Kenyan public service. This is there to ensure that all of us are placed to perform the functions that we are intended to do in our letters of deployment and employment, so that the rightful skills are deployed in the rightful places, so that as teachers, we are not asked to perform functions of an accountant. So that is the duty of this particular office, to ensure that this is done, to ensure that we have a public service. We have a pool of talent within the public service that is rightfully placed to perform the rightful function. The fourth function is the transmittal of the executive directives, that is the orders, presidential proclamations, to all the different MDAs. And by the MDAs, I mean the ministries, state organs, state departments, and agencies. This is meant for the information, implementation, and further action. So that this is done to ensure that every pronouncement, every declaration, every decision of the President is made and followed up to the end, so that they don't just end up at the paper stage or the pronouncement stage. The fourth function is the transmittal of policy advisories by way of circulars to the entire public service, as may originate from the Executive Office of the President. Colleagues, you note that we've received different circulars, like in our instance, we've received circulars from our ministries, our line Ministry of Education, giving guidance on issues where there are gray areas or issues where we need a particular emphasis on what needed to be done. So over and above the circulars that we receive from our ministry, there are circulars that originate from the Executive Office of the President, and this is done by the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service. We are aware, of course, colleagues, that we receive circulars from different entities in government, be it Treasury, be it the State Law Office, be it the Salaries and Remuneration Commission when it comes to the issues of our salaries. We receive circulars from the Teacher Service Commission, who are our employers, issuing guidance. All these circulars are supposed to issue guidance to ensure that there is semblance of working in tandem as a government as a whole. The final function, which speaks to the rest colleagues, is the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service is responsible for the overall effectiveness of the public service, which all of us fall within the ambit. All of us are in tandem to the definition of what the public service is. So we are a huge entity that is called the public service, and we are supposed to work for the best interest of the citizens, and in our case, ensuring that we impart knowledge to our pupils. Now, please go to the next slide. So having understood the nexus between this office, we shall be giving highlights, 4 high-level issues that will be the running theme for this virtual engagement this morning. These are issues that are evolving around the strengthening of governance within our primary schools in the entire country, as we, as the head teachers, as the deputies, as the county directors of education, are the bastions of ensuring that we churn out products that will go to the market that is competitive, because we are the first persons who interact with the students immediately they interact with any formal learning. So we understand the role that all of us play, and that is why we wanted to highlight some of the governance issues that have been brought to the fore. And even before we go to these governance issues, all of us understand that these boards of management are legal governance organs which are established under the Basic Education Act 2013, and with particular emphasis to Section 55. So as we retreat, please let's go and make reference to that Section 55, because it is very prescriptive in terms of the composition and of our different boards. And the reason why we emphasize on this is when we were calling for this webinar, we had challenges with some of the institutions. Some of the primary schools, they have boards of management that are not fully constituted. And it is our mandate to ensure that all our boards of management are properly constituted in accordance to the Act. And this composition is set out under Section 56, if we need to make reference to, of the Basic Education Act 2023. Just look at what is expected. Who are the members and membership of this board of management, up to the level of the membership who are expected to be co-opted. When you go further to Section 59, it speaks to the functions. If we need to know what are the functions of all our boards of management, please make reference to Section 59 of the boards of management. This is read together with the different circulars that have been issued by the Ministry of Education. And this Section 59 alone has 20 functions that is expected of us. So in case we need clarity on anything, let's just go and make reference to this, that section, and we'll be able to appreciate what are the day-to-day functions of our different boards of management. No, so our number one issue that we thought it's important to highlight is the issue of the respect of separation of roles between the boards and the school management. Friends, we notice that the boards of management are supposed to issue governance, oversight, and policy guidance, while the head teachers and their deputies, together with the teachers, they retain the responsibility of the day-to-day management of the schools and professional conduct of the teaching and learning. In many schools, we notice that there's been misunderstandings about these roles, and they've been able to create unnecessary conflict, disrupting the core mandate of our institutions, which is learning. So again, let's go and make reference to what is expected of us in the legislation and the circulars. For example, we've had primary schools on the board where we have members who walk into classrooms, that is the BOMs, and announce and make announcements to question teachers about the lesson delivery, or attempt to instruct teachers directly on what subjects they need to teach. Such actions, colleagues, undermine the professional authority and disrupt learning environment. Now, in strengthening these principles, boards should be able to focus on the policy direction, institutional oversight, and safeguard the interests of the learners. For example, boards should ensure that the school has adequate classrooms, there is safe sanitation facilities, there is proper financial oversight rather than interfering with the classroom instructions as it may be. The head teachers, on the other hand, should be able to allow the professional space to manage the staff of our different institutions, organize teaching programs, and supervise the daily operations of our institutions of learning. And on the other hand, the teachers are expected to support and focus their core mandate of responsibility of teaching. And teachers should be subject to the overarching management and supervision of these head teachers. So there should be clear communication, and a lot of emphasis should be on this, a clear communication on this structure and the mandate of our different boards of management and the management of these particular institutions, so that the decisions affecting the schools of management should also always be guided by the education policies, the legislative directions that have been set out in the different sections, so that it should ensure that these schools follow with strict compliance what is set out in law. Now, on the second issue, go to the next slide, is the strengthening of the strategic leadership in schools. Boards and schools leadership should work together to ensure that we develop a clear improvement plans. We should have the blueprints which are clearly set out on the learner performance, infrastructure priorities, and overall development of these different institutions. Strategic leadership ensures that the schools move beyond the day-to-day management, and focus should go into the long-term strategies of our different learning institutions. For example, colleagues, we notice that many schools struggle with overcrowded classrooms, inadequate infrastructure, that is the desks and what have you, and declining literacy levels in lower grades, so that we notice that schools are going down in terms of the performance and grades. These challenges require coordinated planning rather than ad hoc responses, knee-jerk responses that come once it's a reactionary kind of feedback. We should be able to think forward, think to the future while we are rendering our strategic leadership. So schools should develop clear improvement plans with measurable goals for learner achievements. And the boards, on the other hand, should support the head teachers and their deputies in identifying the priority areas such as classroom facilities, sanitation, and the different learning institutions. Equally, there should be a strategic planning should include initiatives that encourage discipline and learner participation and talent development rather than things that are not of importance. So, and at the same time, the boards should be able to monitor the progress to ensure that the development initiatives retain their alignment with the national education plans that have been set out by the government through the Better Plan, and together with the ministries through the regular policies that they communicate to us. I'll go to the next slide. There should be regular and effective board meetings. I don't need to overemphasize on this. Boards should meet regularly to keep proper records and deliberate on the resolutions and ensure that the decisions are taken which follow through to the completion, so that we do not leave these decisions just to hang. In some schools, boards only meet when there's a crisis. We've had instances where the boards only come when they need to address a crisis, like recently when we had floods. So parents should also come to ensure that they support this, to ensure that there is effective governance mechanisms that are put in place. So there should be regular scheduled board meetings to review the school performance. There should be proper documentations and discussions on the resolutions that are churned out as a result of the different board meetings. There should be a clear follow-up mechanisms to ensure that the agreed decisions are actually implemented to the end. And equally, we should have constructive engagement between the board members and school leadership. We should not reduce the board meetings to be a kamukunji, but rather a structured engagement where we have resolutions that will follow up to the end. And this will bring up a culture of accountabilities where board members contribute to the strengthening of our different institutions. Finally, go to the next slide. We should all embrace technology in teaching and school administration. Colleagues, technology is here with us. And when we are even conducting a virtual session like this, all of us should take cue. All of us should borrow a leaf to be able to implement the embracing technology in our day-to-day running, so that teachers and schools should understand that there is increasingly adoption of appropriate digital tools in the supporting of teaching, learner assessment, school record keeping, and communication between ourselves and the parents. And that is why even all of you received digitally the invitation to be able to attend this meeting. For example, colleagues, many schools are already using messaging platforms to communicate to parents about meetings, about the fees areas that are there, and all even other school activities. Some schools use digital systems, which all of us should be able to embrace in a huge way, because the digital penetration in our country is huge. All of us are in different WhatsApp platforms and what have you. In embracing this technology, teachers should integrate digital resource that support interactive and learning experiences. Schools as well should strengthen the digital record keeping, as I've spoken to the importance of us having the records which are very clear, and technology should be used in an appropriate communication between the schools, the parents, and the education authorities. This school should encourage the responsibility and safe use of technology to learners, because technology also has its downside. It can be dangerous to the learners. So let's embrace technology that is constructive. Let's as well educate the learners on the downside of technology, because we have very dangerous things that come with this technology, including the issue of betting, the issue of pornography, and all other vices that come with technology. So we should finally champion competency-based curricula. Go to the last slide. Primary school teachers are central into the success of CBE. Our colleagues from the ministry will speak to a huge length about CBE, but the champions of CBEs start with our primary institutions. So teachers should focus on the nurturing learners and talents in creativity of the practical skills. Classroom activities should also speak to it, and they should be continuous assessments together with the teachers and the parents to ensure that there is a success when it comes to this CBE. Thank you very much, colleagues, for giving me a leading here. This will be the running theme about the issue that I've spoken to for the remainder of the period of this webinar. Thank you very much. I call upon my colleague, Mr. Barongo, to come in and give a presentation on behalf of the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bana Kibruno, for the session that we have had. The guest of honor this morning, the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Koske, the Principal Secretary, State Department for Basic Education, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, in absentia, the Chairperson, Teacher Service Commission, Dr. Chamlek Muturi, the CEO, Teacher Service Commission, Madam Evelyn Mitei, and the colleagues from the Teacher Service Commission, the entire staff that is present here from the head of public service and the Ministry of Education, our field officers, heads of and the deputy of our primary schools and the junior schools, because primary school now also domiciles junior school. So we are here 2 in 1. Our administrative admins, who we call basars and accounts clerk in our environment, members of the board of management, who also include our parents. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Barongo Stephen, and I am the head primary education directorate, I want to take us through policy and regulatory framework for public primary school education in Kenya. And I want to say that this framework refers to the laws, policies, and guidelines that govern the management, administration, and delivery of education in public primary schools in Kenya. As you all know, primary school education is very key because it lays the foundation for a child's overall development and future learning. Primary education builds strong foundational literacy and numeracy, which later contribute to improved learning outcomes. This is where the child learns how to read and how to understand the texts that they read. And this reading informs how they understand other learning areas as they climb up the ladder of education. They also learn foundational literacy, which later will contribute greatly to the STEM pathway when they come to senior school. At primary school level, the child starts developing practical competencies like communication and collaboration, like creative thinking and others. We start identifying and nurturing talents as early as that time of primary education. And then we promote life skills, values, and citizenship. This is the place where the child starts learning how to share, whatever small, with others. And therefore, later on, then this becomes a very responsible citizen, even in sharing with the needy. Therefore, there's need to get it right at the primary school level. This level links the home environment with the school environment. You know, the child is leaving a comfort of the home and coming to a school to meet very new people that are not parents or siblings. And therefore, the process of socialization then starts when the child enters the primary school. There is therefore need to make sure that the school environment is safe, inclusive, and very accommodative. At this time, we need to make sure that the infrastructure at school level is friendly. The wash facilities, especially the toilets, are clean, and there's enough water for these children to wash even after they have taken their meal. We have to make the school environment therefore attractive and retaining so that the child does not hate schooling from that early age. Article 53, 1B of the Constitution of Kenya on the right to free and compulsory basic education and Executive Order number 1 of 2025 mandate primary school education with 1, primary education policy management. 2, primary education institutional management. 3, registration of primary education institutions. And 4, primary school administration and programs. Education is therefore managed through legal provisions, policies, guidelines, directives, and circulars. Primary school education operations are therefore guided by a comprehensive legal and policy framework that incorporates international, regional, and national instruments. We know as a country we are a member of a global family, and we belong to the globe as much as we belong to the region. Therefore, I will talk about these policy and legal frameworks in that perspective. The global one, the regional one, and we come home. And I want to emphasize that adherence and compliance with these provisions will safeguard against errors of commission and omission that may be costly to individuals, schools, parents, and the government. Let me give you examples of the international frameworks that are guiding primary school education. I want to start with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989. This upholds every child's right to quality education without discrimination while safeguarding their dignity and well-being. The second one is Sustainable Development Goal, and especially goal number 4, that focuses on ensuring quality, access, inclusive, and equitable education, and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. The regional frameworks that guide us as well in this country include the African Charter on the Rights of and the Welfare of the Child, 1990, which mandates that every African child has the right to free and compulsory basic education. We have also the African Union Agenda for Development 2063, which singles out education as the main catalyst of development. And nearer home, we have the East African Community Protocols on Education that we are mandated to also borrow a leave from, being a member of the community. When we come to the national legal frameworks guiding primary education, then we are compelled to start with the supreme law of this land, the Constitution of Kenya. The Constitution has very many articles that relate to primary education. The first one is Article 43(1)(f), which demands that every person has a right to education. That's why even when people go through the education cycle and find that they have missed education, we provide an avenue for adult education so that all our people get education because of the importance of education. Article 53(1)(b) that emphasizes the right of every child to free and compulsory basic education. Free because the government pays for it, and compulsory because every child must be in school. That's why the Board of Management and the administration structures down to the grassroots must make sure that children go to school. Even parents that are difficult to take children to school should be remanded to do that because it's a right of every child in this country. Article 10 on national values and principles of governance binds all state organs, state officers, public officers to equity, equality, and inclusiveness. Article 54 provides for quality services and access to education institutions and facilities for persons with disabilities that are integrated into society to the extent that it is compatible with the interests of these people, and also that our environment also allow for them to mix in an inclusive environment. Article 55A, 56B, 57 advocate for affirmative action for minorities and the marginalized. We can't afford as a country to leave anybody behind. And therefore, we look at the whole country and see which areas are left behind. That's why we have NACONEC that deals with the education in the marginalized areas. We have a school feeding program under NACONEC that makes sure that children in areas that are food insecure are given food at school, and this attracts them to come to school and remain in school to learn. We have a LIM scholarship that we are giving to the very needy and bright children that need to continue with education. And we are doing this because we want to bring everybody on board and to act within the affirmative action environment. We give capitation to all children to make sure that our children are in school. And in addition to the capitation we give to every child, we give a top-up for our children with disabilities to make sure that the other equipment they may need, the infrastructure that they may need that is suited to them is taken care of by that top-up. We have gender equality principles, such as the 2/3 gender rule, which promote fairness in governance, and we are practicing them even at school level. In the composition of the Board of Management, we make sure that that rule is observed. Then we come to the second law, which is the Basic Education Act, and it is the law, is our Bible in the education space, which provides for free and compulsory primary education. And therefore, this practice of some of our naughty leaders of schools indulging in illegal collections and illegal levies is guided by this act, and you can easily be taken to court because of this, putting so many barriers in the form of requirements from the parents that sometimes hinder them from bringing children to school, because education is supposed to be affordable. The Basic Education Act provides principles such as equality, non-discrimination, and accountability. We have to account for the resources that come from the government. We have the boards of management established through this act, and they provide guidance on school management, learner discipline, admission, and transfer of learners. This is also assisted by the Basic Education Regulations of 2015, which operationalize this. Then these regulations also address school rules, discipline procedure for learners, the official hours for the day, public and private children in school. We see some schools asking our children to go to school as early as 5 in the morning, which is very insecure and ungodly. They should be guided by this regulation of the Basic Education Act. We have the Teacher Service Commission Act, which we know its work is recruitment and employment of teachers and all those that go with teachers. We have the Children's Act of 2022, which safeguards the rights of children by protecting them from all forms of abuse, injustice, and discrimination. Verbal abuse that sometimes happens in school, the corporal punishment, the psychological torture that happens to our children is protected. The children are protected by this. We have the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, which directs us on how to be responsible with our resources and how to account for these resources. We have the Procurement, Asset and Disposal Act. And you know, the importance of this is that it will discourage the people who have conflict of interest in school. You want to be a supplier of the school that you manage. We have the Public Finance Act. I think we have talked about it. We have the Public Audit Act of 2015, which outlines the responsibilities of Office of Auditor General to establish the audit process that will also audit primary schools, because we have already started with secondary schools. We have public health in terms of the safety of infrastructure, the safety of the food that our children take through lunch program, and school feeding program. And then lastly, in this perspective, we have the Basic Education Curriculum Framework that provides the foundation for curriculum reforms, including the competence-based education that we are implementing now. There are many other policy guidelines, documents that we have in the Ministry of Education, and I have them in my notes. So I will ask that at your own time, then people can go through. But in a summary, I want to say that the regulatory framework are intended to promote free and compulsory education, equity and inclusiveness, quality education standards, child protection and rights, accountability and transparency, community participation. Despite this robust policy and regulatory framework, guest of honor in the public primary education sector, we still face quite a number of challenges, as you mentioned earlier, which negatively impact on governance and management of our primary schools. The choice of members of the board sometimes should be looked at more clearly so that we bring on board boards that have the capacity to, or we take them for further training. We have political interference in this area where local politics sometimes influence board appointments. And sometimes we get on board people who cannot contribute to the education sphere. We still have corruption because I've talked of illegal levies. We have talked about people who want to supply their schools and they're members of the board, and which brings a lot of disharmony in our school environment. We have land ownership disputes that sometimes bedevil our primary schools. Schools that are operating without land title deeds, allotment letters, schools that are sitting on land that they are not sure whether it belongs to them or not, and therefore sometimes we are threatened by evictions through court orders, people encroaching into school land, all these which are supposed to be managed well by our Board of Management. Children protection, for example, and safety is still a problem. How children travel, the buses, whether they are serviced frequently, whether there are rules that guide how children will be safeguarded when they are in transport. We have challenges that come with inclusion and special needs education. The legal provisions require inclusive education, that schools get facilities and trained personnel to handle learners with disability, and many others that I have put, especially the challenges that come with the free primary education that attracts 100% to school, with the trained facilities, the ratio of teacher, children, teacher, and so on and so forth. Therefore, we are asking upon the head teachers, deputy head teachers to come in and help us bring order in this space. Therefore, the head of institution, deputy head of institution, BOMs and administrative officers play a major role in ensuring compliance with laws, policies, guidelines, directives, and circulars. Head teachers, for example, is the administrative head of the school and is responsible for academic performance. The head teacher must be able to supervise teaching and make sure that learning is happening, such that there's no teacher, there's no teacher in the school making noise in the classroom, and there's no teaching. The teaching is not planned, and we only end up wasting time for our children. Staff supervision, implementation of government policies is upon the teacher. The Board of Management, which again I want to say have the overall responsibility of managing the school on behalf of the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Education. They must make sure that the school is managed well, the finances are oversighted, they take part in budgeting by even approving the budget and following the use of that budget, and lastly, the communication. Primary and school and junior school belong to this environment of comprehensive school. We are alive to the fact that there's a special committee with the Board of Management that is responsible for junior school. And we want to ask them to be even more keen, because junior school attracts more capitation than it does, than it is in primary. Ladies and gentlemen, all players in this space should therefore be guided by policy, regulation, regulatory framework to ensure that public schools in Kenya operate within clear legal and institutional structures. These frameworks support that all children access primary education, quality, that the teachers are teaching, infrastructure is friendly, and there are enough instructional materials, the books. And then they should make sure that there's accountability in terms of all resources, from human, from infrastructural resources, financial resources. And there is equity in basic education, making sure that no child is left behind. There's no discrimination on gender basis, on tribal or other things that bring discrimination to the fore, so that then the government will achieve the national development goals. I want to stop there, guest of honor, and hand over the program to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Barongo, for that very enlightening presentation. I'm sure that the heads of the institutions who are gathered in all corners of this country will appreciate that this is a great reminder of the important regulations and the laws that affect the teaching profession. Before I call out the next speakers, I would like to just repeat, for the sake of some who may have come in just maybe a few minutes after we had begun, we now have about 43,000 who are following on YouTube. And when I say 43,000, I mean 43,000 entries, but we have many people who are sat in groups and who are following this Zoom meeting on YouTube as well as on Zoom. I want to repeat that you need to introduce yourself in the chat section if you're on Zoom, where you state your name, designation, as well as the county where you're logging in from. This applies to YouTube as well. We'd like to know you, we'd like to know where you are, and we'd like to know your designation. So kindly do that, at least to enable us to be able to know who you are and where you're from. I also want to remind you about the Q&A section, of which we can see many questions that have been asked, and the teams from the State Department for Basic Education, from the Teacher Service Commission, as well as from the Office of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service are very busy trying to make sure that they respond to your questions. I also want to remind you that this is a webinar and therefore your microphones are switched off unless one is a speaker or promoted to be a speaker. So if you would like to say something, we're encouraging you to be able to open your, to use the feature at the bottom of the screen for raise hand. You want to make a comment of which maybe you think if you had put it in the Q&A section, maybe you still want to articulate it. You can put your hand up, and when the time comes, you will see a prompt on your screen which will ask you to become a panelist. Please accept it so that your microphone can be switched on in good time for you to be able to speak. I want to remind you as well that you need to ensure that you have registered yourself on the Google form. The form that the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Services Office had requested you to be able to ensure that you register. Kindly do so, because it is the only way we can be able to get your email address for the purpose of sending you all the presentations for today's meeting, and also communicate with you subsequently, not only from this office, but also from the Teacher Service Commission, as well as the State Department for Basic Education. As I said before I call out the next speakers, kindly allow me to recognize a number of you. For example, Obambo Comprehensive Board of Management members who are in Bita, Sub-County Homa Bay. We see you seated around the table and following the presentation. I believe that to be the principal. We also have Airstrip Primary School in Kieni East, Nyeri. We see you gathered in that hall and following the presentation with the projection on the wall. We want to recognize Kulmie Primary at Ashabito Sub-County, Mandera County. We see you gathered in the room there following the presentation. Kamoi Comprehensive School, we see you, Manganga Primary and JSS, heads of institution, and the Board of Management who have logged in. You haven't said where from, but we see you. Then Wadituga Primary in Kieni East Sub-County, Nyeri, we see you. Kipkosi, Cheplanget, and Kapkisiara schools of Bureti. These are schools that have come together and have put their people together to be able to follow this. Makongo Special School from Makueni Sub-County, we see you. Ngama School, Mwatate Sub-County, Taita Taveta. Koitabrot School, we see you projecting there on the wall. Mlondo Primary School in Voi. Kabusare Comprehensive School in Bomet Central Sub-County. St. Joseph's Mwatate again in Taita Taveta. Kibuk RC BOM members in Mount Elgon, Bungoma, we see you. In Kiambu County, we have Kwangethe Comprehensive School. We see you, gathered there. Mazimbani Board of Management in Kaloleni Sub-County. We also see you. And Burgabo Primary School in Marsabit County. We see you there at the top of the building following this meeting with a laptop there, and we are very grateful that you've been able to join us. AIC Malivani Primary School from Makueni. And then I also would like to recognize Abdiwako Primary and Junior School in Elda Sub-County, Wajir. Welcome to this meeting. And also the head teacher of Bahakanda Comprehensive School in Shimba Hills, together with your team, Lawyer Pat, Board of Management, following this meeting. Oltanki Primary School in Transmara, Kyoge Deb, Board of Management. I believe Deb stood for District Education Board. Then also the Board of Management members who are in various schools in Taita Sub-County who've come together to follow this meeting, and so forth and so on. We see you and we appreciate the efforts that have been made by head teachers everywhere to be able to facilitate their Board of Management members to attend this meeting, the heads of institution to attend this meeting, the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service, as well as the leadership of the Teacher Service Commission, the CEO, and the chairperson, as well as the leadership of the State Department for Basic Education. I thought it was important for you to be able to see the length and the breadth of where people are, joining this meeting from. So at this point, I wish to call out Madam Evelyn Mitei, who is the acting Commission Secretary from the Teacher Service Commission, to be able to make her presentation. She will immediately be followed by Madam Susan Oyatsi, or Commissioner Susan Oyatsi, who's now been bestowed the honor to become a commissioner with the National Lands Commission. She's been working here with the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service. And then we'll be followed by Reverend Dr. Patrick Omutia, who's a Special Secretary on Productivity from the Office of the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service. And of course, from that point, my co-moderator, Mr. David Mukui, from the Teacher Service Commission, will take over. I thank you, and let's continue following this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. The Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei, the Principal Secretary for Basic Education, distinguished colleagues from the Executive Office of the President, the Department of Basic Education, my colleagues from TSC, all head teachers and deputy head teachers of junior and primary schools countrywide, all heads of, chairpersons and members of the boards of management of primary and junior schools, all heads of finance, accounts, procurement, and internal audit, all students who might have joined us today, good morning. My name is Evelyn Mitei, the acting CEO, Teacher Service Commission, and I want to take this opportunity to appreciate all our stakeholders from the primary sector for joining this meeting. This is a reminder that we must always upgrade our skills, because especially in ICT, because you don't know when you'll be called upon. And I want to take time to appreciate all of you being able to join either in groups or as individuals. I'll take you through the operating environment of the teaching service. And I will start by indicating the role of Teacher Service Commission. which is the mandate that has been given to the TSC by the Constitution, which includes registration, recruitment, and employment, assignment of teachers in public schools, promotion and transfer of teachers, exercise of disciplinary control over teachers, as well as to terminate the employment of teachers. We also review the standards of education and training of persons entering the teaching service. We review the demand for and supply of teachers, and we advise the national government on matters relating to the teaching profession. Our statistics on management of teachers is that at the moment we have 213,536 teachers. In junior school, we have 106,201 teachers, and in senior school, we have 132,335. This goes a long way to show that Kenya has a large and expanding teaching service, which helps us to implement the curriculum. In regard to the operating environment, the legal framework that we use as a commission is, of course, the Constitution, and more specifically, Articles 10 and Article 232 on the national values and principles of governance, as well as values and public service values, and which include patriotism, national unity, transparency, accountability, and good governance. Those are important to us as public officers because the values of public service guide us on how we are to conduct ourselves as public officers. In addition, Chapter 6 of the Constitution is on leadership and integrity, and it bestows on us as public officers responsibilities on how to conduct ourselves as well as how to manage public resources. And in particular, it outlines financial probity. The second instrument that we use is the TSC Act. The TSC Act outlines the teaching standards that every teacher in this country is expected to follow as we implement the curriculum. We also, the Act also gives us the ethical standards expected of all the teachers. And this is in line with the values that I've already talked about that are espoused in Article 10 and Article 232. The TSC Act also expects us to uphold professional ethics and standards. Remember, I said the Commission's role is to enforce disciplinary control on teachers. So the TSC Act has given us the professional ethics and standards that are expected of every teacher in this country. And the TSC Act also has given us a role, particularly as heads of institutions and our deputies, that we must uphold the best interest of learners, their safety, their protection, their right to access education, and even issues of non-discrimination against them, inclusive education, so that all our children are able to access education. Our next legal instrument is the Code of Regulation for Teachers. And the Code of Regulation is our Bible, actually, as the teaching service. It defines the general rules for us, the general rules of conduct, the administrative functions that each one of us, be it an administrator, be it a teacher, should be able to understand their roles, and they are all defined in the Code of Regulation. It also defines the procedures and processes that we follow in the teaching service. It gives you an indication of what you are expected to do. For example, if you want to go on leave, the Code of Regulation defines the various leaves. It defines what are the conditions that you're supposed to meet, for example, to go to study leave. It also defines the terms and conditions of service for teachers. And the Code of Regulation, as I've said, therefore, is a critical instrument for us in the teaching service, because it gives us what we must comply with and what we must do as the teaching service. The last one is the Code of Conduct and Ethics for Teachers, which sets out the expected ethical behavior. It angers the need to maintain high standards of professionalism within or outside the work environment, aspects of integrity, which I had alluded to in the leadership and integrity article of the Constitution, and issues of accountability. And as my colleague Barongo has indicated, accountability in the teaching service is something that we must all adhere to, especially in terms of financial management, managing the finances that we've been entrusted to as a public. It also anchors the principle of duty of care for learners. The Code of Regulation defines how teachers, head teachers, and deputy head teachers are supposed to handle the learners. It gives us also the duty to maintain and uphold the nobility of the teaching profession. Whether whatever you are doing must be a reflection of a professional teacher. The operating environment within the school environment. I think my colleague has outlined quite a number of issues, but as teachers at the school environment, your first and foremost duty is to ensure that our learners are safe, their welfare is taken care of, their security is ensured. And I think that is provided in law. The Basic Education Act outlines what is expected of all heads of institutions as the custodians of all our learners, of course, with the support of the BOMs and the deputy principals. At the school environment, the heads of institutions are the lead educators. Each one of you as a head of institution, you are the teacher number one. Your role, first and foremost, is to teach. The additional teachers, the additional roles that come with that role, and this include financial management, supervision of the curriculum, supervision of the teachers who are delivering the curriculum. We know you're also counselors, you do other extra duties, all to ensure that the learner environment is conducive for learning. You are also the lead implementer of government policy. The government issues guidelines, issues directives, issues policies from time to time. Your role as the principal is to implement, with the support of your BOMs, these government guidelines or directives. You also have a duty to your stakeholders. You are the people who manage parents, who manage leaders, who manage communities around your schools. And the Commission supports you to manage these roles through continuous pedagogical training. And the Commission in the past 3 years has retooled most of the teachers to be able to acquire the necessary knowledge, the mastery of content in terms of the new curriculum, so that we support our teaching service to deliver our new curriculum. We also implement the teacher performance appraisal management so that we are able to monitor and measure what our teachers are doing. What is the impact of what our teachers are doing? What are the outcomes? Are we getting positive learner outcomes from our teachers? We have also provided the teachers with insurance services under the medical scheme to ensure that the welfare of our teachers is taken care of. A healthy teaching service is critical for the success of the teaching service. We have also provided teacher wellness initiative. We do appreciate that issues of mental health is real, and as a commission, we provide support to teachers in terms of mental health education. We have also provided teacher support programs like teacher induction, mentorship, and coaching. And we call upon teachers to seek psychosocial support when they are faced with challenges. We are encouraged to take advantage of the services we provide. We have a well-equipped wellness center at the Teacher Service Commission headquarters. So we encourage all teachers to take care of this, to take advantage of these facilities to be able to protect their mental health. The key milestones that the Commission has achieved under the BETTER program include 100,000 teachers recruited in the last 3 years. We have also promoted 274,218 teachers in the last 3 years, and we'll continue to do this so that we can be able to motivate our teachers. Given funding, the Commission would continue to promote all the teachers. We have also done a CBA 2025-2029, effective July 2025, which is a 4-year cycle, and it provides for improved working terms of and conditions of service for teachers. We have also digitized the recruitment and transfer processes to enhance effectiveness and transparency in these two processes. So the teaching service are encouraged to take care of, to take advantage of this and use this digitization processes so that you are able to gain out of it. We have also improved pension processing, and we have improved healthcare services, because I've talked with that, migration to the Social Health Authority, which has better access to hospitals, whereas our previous healthcare providers had around 800 hospitals. The current provider is able to provide around 6,000 hospitals countrywide. In whatever we do, guided by the legal framework that I've just explained, we also work in collaboration with stakeholders and other partners, including international organizations such as World Bank, who fund most of our programs that improve delivery of the curriculum in the teaching service. We work very closely also with the Ministry of Education, who is our parent ministry. We work with the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. We work with Kenya National Examination Council. The Kenya Institute of Special Education helps us to ensure that we implement inclusive education. And we also work with Kenya Education Management Institute, mostly in terms of capacity building of our school leadership. This collaboration ensures effective curriculum delivery and subsequently quality education. Our takeaways today then is that Kenya has made significant progress in strengthening the teaching profession. I have already highlighted the milestones that we have achieved, and we are very grateful to the government that they have extended this support to the teaching service. Major investments have been made on teacher recruitment, teacher promotions, and general teacher welfare. And we believe continued collaboration and investments are necessary to address the few challenges that we have, including teacher shortages. So I want to sincerely appreciate all of you for today's meeting, and I want to appreciate your dedication and commitment to service delivery and effective teaching and learning. We want to urge you to continue safeguarding the learners, teaching them, and protecting their well-being. Your commitment continues to shape national development through education, and please uphold constitutional values of integrity, accountability, transparency, and good governance at all times. Ensure that there is prudent stewardship of public resources entrusted to your institutions, including the finances, the learners, the infrastructure, and the learning materials, and remain exemplary public officers and role models in the societies that you operate in, as well as for your learners. Thank you very much. Back to you, Linda.
Video. The video.
Back to you, Linda.
Thank you, Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, all protocols observed, and all participants, good morning. My names are FCPA Susan Oyatsi, now a commissioner. I'm just going to be sworn in at 3 today, and I'm happy to be with you. This is my last assignment in the Office of Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service. The slide. Members, the Head of Public Service has this initiative of Zerofold audit that he has been talking about. He has talked to all key stakeholders, and you are my last stakeholders that I'm talking with you. I am aware primary schools are not audited by the Auditor General, but schools audit. The next slide. So I will give the definition, and in this definition, although you are not audited by the Auditor General, but the Auditor General is coming because of the reforms, the PFM reforms that are happening in government. So actually, the Head of Public Service is preparing you now for the coming reforms that are in line. So the Head of Public Service is like John the Baptist when he was saying, I'm preparing the way. So he's preparing you for the Auditor General who will be auditing you very, very soon. Sir, there are very discussions at very high level, As you are aware, sir, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board prepares the format or the template for the entities to report. After they have prepared the template, then the Auditor General comes in to audit. So actually, the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board has prepared the templates, but there are discussions between the National Treasury and where I have been representing you on that committee at the State Department of Education and the OAG on who is the accounting officer. Will it be the PS? Will it be the head? So those discussions are almost concluded. And once they are concluded, the primary schools are going to be put on board once the template is shared with Auditor General. So I will just give the description, the definition of what is a zero-fault audit, and it is all obeying the existing laws. Madam Mitei has talked all about what you are supposed to do. If you follow all that, then you are in the zero-fault audit. The director before Madam Mitei gave all that you are required. So all that, if you obey all that, primary school teachers, then you are in the zero-fault audit. So when the Auditor General comes, he will get you clean. Where I come from, there is a lot of planting, a lot of activities going on now with the rains. And the heads, please be alert, because most of the teachers, again, at this time, wanaenda kupanda, wanafanya nini. So please, the head teachers, it is upon you, from what Madam has said, to make sure that the school is running. When I was growing up, and I hope my schools are logged in, I was in so many primary schools. I went to Luhoho Primary School. I hope you are logged in. I went to Maturu Primary School in Kakamega. I hope you are logged in. I went to Kapkoi Primary School in Trans Nzoia. I hope you are logged in. My husband went to Bwaliro Primary School in Busia. I hope you are logged in. I'm a neighbor to Elugulu Primary School. I hope you are all logged in to listen to this, to this message from the head of public service. So I was telling you that he's preparing you for the PFM transformation that is coming. And once you obey all the circulars, which you get, all the manuals, all the policies and procedures at whatever level, then you are in the zero-fault audit. You are the managers. I will not go through what Madam has said, Madam CEO, but you are going to be audited very, very soon by the Auditor General. So I will be very brief because I'm going for swearing in, and I would like to take this chance to thank His Excellency the President for nominating me to be a member of National Land Commission, and also to thank Parliament for the approval which was done yesterday. May I also extend my appreciation to Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service for having confidence in my ability. May I also thank my audit, legal, and regulatory compliance colleagues that have worked with them for the 3 years. It has been wonderful working under Dr. Linda Musumba with her leadership. She's a very tough lady, and that toughness has made us to be what we are in the department. I give you my flowers, all those people that I have mentioned. I am a Gen Z, so I give flowers. I give you my flowers. To the head teachers and all the boards that are logged in, as you know, I'm going to be sworn in as a commissioner for National Land Commission. And one of the things that Mr. Stephen has talked about is land ownership documents. I'm aware when the Auditor General comes, this will be an audit query from her team. And I can assure you that I'll give you priority, as the land ownership documents are an issue in this country for primary schools, secondary schools, and even other institutions. I would want you to take this slogan that if anybody comes for your land, please pig and duru to National Land Commission. so that we help you. I want you to piga nduru kama mtu anakuja kuchukua shamba ya shule, because from what Madam has said and from the PFM Act, you are the custodian of those assets that are under you. Some of you primary schools are even more endowed than secondary schools. Your land is big and you have a lot of capitation compared to the secondary schools. So nataka tupige nduru to avoid those trying to grab the school land. And I'm ready. I'm going to prioritize this so that you have documents and you stay in the Zerofold audit. Thank you and God bless our country, Kenya. As I leave this office, I would like you to start, when the Auditor General comes, to start on a clean page. They are going to give you various opinions. I would like you to get a clean audit opinion, because the head of public service has prepared the way John the Baptist prepared the way for Jesus. Thank you very much.
Put it on. Good morning, colleagues. The Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, and all protocols observed. Mine is going to be a brief one because I have been alerted due to constraints of time, which I verily believe. I am going to make this presentation, which will be shared with you. And for that reason, I may not cover each and every slide because the rest of the slides are possibly self-explanatory. My intervention this morning is to discuss the issue of mental wellness and the extent to which it affects, drives or affects productivity. For introduction, I am Reverend Dr. Patrick Omutia, Special Secretary Productivity in the Office of Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service. To set the context right, I come in a state where we as a country are at a crossroad purely because of concerns about erosion of trust, because citizens believe or perceive corruption and inefficiency in the public service. And this has been documented by the Transparency International report of 2024, and also our own EACC through the National Ethics and Corruption Survey done in 2024. What is disheartening in that report is that whereas we thought that we were going on the right trajectory, that corruption was going down, surprisingly, they pointed out that the rate of bribery has indeed gone up from 25% to 30%. And speakers before me have already alluded to the kind of corruption that may also be prevalent in the education sector. And I do not wish to repeat that. You have heard of all those stories that you need to bribe to be transferred, need to bribe for many other things. I don't want to belabor on that because previous speakers have talked about it. We also are in an environment whereby there is need for agility, because where we live now is different. We have demographic shifts. The time I was going to school was not the same as now. Those days you could be caned, but now that is not possible with the Gen Z and others. And therefore, we also see that we witness climate change issues daily, not to mention that we are now in the digitalization era. And this is very important because it portends the nature of the type of public service that we run. But more importantly, relevant to today's presentation is that this data from the civil service indicates that 60% of public servants report mental health challenges, citing things such as stress, which is an imbalance between your expectations and your ability to cope, financial strain, because you all are either you are teachers as administrators, but also have other roles in society. So there are pressures of limitation of resources, which pose a burden to you. And also because of limitation of budgetary resources, you are not able to have all the kind of staff that you need to manage the work, and hence you experience instances of workload. But more to that is that as a result of this kind of situation, the 2023 Ministry of Health report indicated that mental health costs the country 62.5 billion annually. When I talk about that figure of 62.5 billion, I do not mean that that is the cost of running the health sector, but it is simply what we lose as a result of reduced workplace performance. For example, when there is a lot of absenteeism, that is lost work performance. When there is what you call presenteeism, that people appear to work, but they do not deliver what is expected of them, that is also loss of productivity. And finally, when there is exhaustion, those are the contributors to work performance. And this points to the issue that we all are faced with, that in terms of labor productivity, our labor productivity ranking globally last year was that we were rated 142 out of 182. That is at the lower tail of the ranking by the International Labour Organization. And in Africa, we were rated 21 out of 52. However, things are not too bad, because when you look at labor alone, that is the situation. But when you look at other factors, what we call multi-factor measurement of ranking of productivity, we seem to have done fairly well. So that the International Management Development Institution, situated in Switzerland, last year rated us as 56th globally, which means it is quite a tremendous improvement. And in Africa, we turned out to be the first. Why? Largely because government woke up to the occasion and has chosen to digitalize a number of services, which has quite improved the state of service delivery. So it is within that background that we are going to proceed to discuss the other issues. So coming now to what we are confronted with is that you who are following this presentation now and are public officers or servants are living interface between the citizens and the learners and the state. And time and again, the head of public service has talked about a reformed public service. For us to have a reformed public service, it means that it is more than institutional restructuring. It actually demands mindset transformation. And you being a critical sector, that is the education sector, you deal with issues of mind education, which is what actually provides the what and the why. While the issues of mental wellness will deal with the how, which translates this into our productivity outcomes. Now, I would like to touch on the issues of what are the foundations for a renewed mindset. And I cite 4 broad areas. That is, a right mindset has a relationship directly with national development. That when you have a constructive mindset, it is a seed for reform. Also, when you have a life-altering mindset, that is one which focuses on life-giving thoughts such as what is true, noble, right, and pure. Because in the current environment of information overload, we get overwhelmed by falsehood. And once you have falsehood, it contaminates your mind. So to make reforms possible, we should be thinking that reforms are possible, not that they are impossible. And the other is about us as public servants. We need to embrace custodianship of public good. And more importantly, in our African spirit, we do understand that we as Africans normally say, I am because we are, quoting from Mbidi. Now, that means that mental wellness thrives in community, not in isolation. So that you who are listening today, you live in community, and it is your duty to help one another to ensure that our minds are in a pure state. I need to touch a little bit of the essence of this in terms of definition, that mental illness simply means having that feeling, balance, resilience, and fulfillment in life, which goes beyond the absence of, it is not talking about illness in a medical sense. And that has an implication because it affects the way you adjust to the challenges that we face. And I want to relate this to my pet subject, that is productivity. Productivity has all to do with an attitude of the mind. That is the belief that today is better than yesterday and tomorrow will be better than today. Just that mentality of human progress. And it simply summarizes as that capability or understanding that we strive to do more with less. And that's why one of the challenges in the public sector seen from the public is that there is a lot of wastage. And learning about productivity will enable you know how to detect and eliminate wastage. And productivity on its own is actually the glue for us achieving our better agenda. So when we lack mental wellness, its impact is that there is burnout in the workplace, absenteeism, presenteeism, and emotional exhaustion, which has everything to do with reducing service delivery efficiency. And also, as those who learn from the scripture say that we need to love our God with all our mind, body, and soul, and also the same to our neighbor. It means that this is linked to heart and healing emotional wounds and strengthening resilience through compassion for those who may be suffering mental illness directly counteracts burnout and fatigue. As I did say, I will skip some of the slides, but the important issue that I want to echo here is that we need to move beyond the rules following. Rules are good, but they should not be the only thing that is essential for organizational survival. We need to embrace a culture of problem solving and creativity and innovation. That is what productivity training brings to us, that we strive to move from our current state to the ideal state and doing things in a different way and in a better way. So mind education, which is the role that you are expected to discharge, will deal with tackling unchecked desires, deal with matters of addiction, that is substance, alcohol, and substance abuse, and crimes through self-mastery, so that you teach people to be self-confident and self-controlled, so that they do not get themselves in the wrong way. You all know that from your scriptures that even our earlier ancestor called Eve, the devil attacked Eve through the mind. It is after the mind was taken control of that she landed us and future generations to this problem. So it is you in the education sector who should be able to nurture a good mind and mindset. Next. Different thing has come. Next. I think we have lost, we have gone to a different presentation. While he's adjusting onto that, just okay, move on. Yeah, we are back to the correct slide. Jump to one, it's okay. The other ones will be red. We had a mix up or somebody jumped to a wrong slide, but let us move on. All I need to say that if what we have discussed in the previous slide is anything to go by, that when mental wellness is not addressed, these are the kind of risks that we face. That is rising incidents of absenteeism, burnout, poor morale, and erosion of trust. But more importantly, I would like to say that when we neglect mindset and wellness, it undermines reforms and national competitiveness. And I want to touch on a very important issue. His Excellency the President on 12th of December last year brought us to a new way of thinking that we need to embrace the Singapore dream. And we can only achieve the Singapore dream if we can adhere to the following. The Singapore dream is simply to move us from our status of lower middle to an advanced or first world state. And that entails simply the following, that we need to embrace, have a disciplined governance through strengthening our institutions and more particularly lowering, if not eliminating, corruption. The other is that we need to have quality life through ensuring that we have good education. Thirdly, we need to ensure that we have modern and efficient infrastructure, and we are happy to note that just this week, two fundamental things have happened. One, that the President signed into law the Infrastructure Financing Act. And also yesterday, the Parliament also enacted the Sovereign Wealth Act. All that means is that we will be on a trajectory to use those frameworks to be able to modernize and make efficient our infrastructure for learning. And if we do that, we should strive to have an industrial base, which will be the boon for employment creation, having a high human development index that will lead to now more money in our pockets, so that if we need to be a first world state, our GDP per capita should move from the current $2,500 to 40,000, which means 16 times. And I know that we can do that with a correct mindset and a productivity orientation. So in summary, these are the recommendations for us arriving at the first world and also ensuring that we are a good society. That is, we needed to embed wellness indicators in our reporting frameworks, not just the way we have been reporting, but ensure that wellness indicators are also reported, because what gets measured gets done. And if we have taken into stock such measures, it should be possible to use color code alerts to detect which regions are high risk so that we can make necessary interventions. Further, we need to institutionalize mind education and mindset training, including productivity management technologies alongside wellness program. Countries that have moved further than us have ensured that productivity training starts at the grassroots, that is at the kindergarten and primary schools. And even our neighbor Ethiopia is already doing that every course, whether it is technical, they have injected a module on productivity, so that productivity starts right from the kindergarten all the way to university, so that when you leave learning institutions, you are already ready productivity-wise. And we implore the education sector to take into account that so that we can discuss how the National Productivity and Competitiveness Center can have an appropriate modular curriculum to be dispensed at all levels of learning so that we can nurture a productive workforce in the country. Also, we need to align with the Ministry of Health, Wellness, Workplace Wellness Guidelines, which were issued way back in 2023, and also align with the Kenya's Better Agenda. And more importantly, being African in nature, we need to foster that Ubuntu-driven peer support, that we live in community and community is part of us, and ensure that we have faith-based resilience practices such as trust in God's care, encouraging prayer, and because that is part of what is in our constitution, the preamble, offering peace and transcending human, that transcends human understanding. And finally, we need to learn how to manage our own stress in such things as time management. When you are feeling stressed, you can have a timeout, having a healthy, balanced diet, doing exercise, relaxing, meditation, good sleep, and avoiding inappropriate self-talk. And when we do this when we take into stock this kind of recommendations, these are the expected outcomes. That is, it will give us an efficient, improved service delivery efficiency. It will strengthen our community's trust so that society now begins to trust that the public service exists for public good. Thirdly, that we shall have reduced economic loss. That is, this money we are foregoing of 62 billion from burnout will now be put to better use. Fourthly, we need to align with our productivity agenda, which is a glue for better, and the WHO benchmarks. Finally, it will enable us to have a resilient, innovative, and ethical public service. So in closing, my closing statement is simply as follows, that a transformation of the public officer's mind is indeed a seed from which every reform will grow. It makes governance to become a living covenant between us, government, and the people whom we serve. Thirdly, that mental well-being is central to productivity for us all. And finally, it embeds wellness into reporting and policy reforms for the education ministry that can safeguard our governance efficiency, community trust, and national productivity. I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Omutia, for your presentation that focuses on mental health and well-being, a topic that when delivered yesterday was also found to be very, very appropriate, with a lot of questions coming in on the topic of mental well-being for teachers. And at this point, I request my co-moderator to come in and be able to take us through the rest of the program. Mr. Mukui from the Teacher Service Commission.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Linda Musumba, the chief guest in today's function, the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service. and all distinguished guests who are within this meeting. My name is Mokoi David, the Director, Teacher Discipline Management at TSC Headquarters. And I wish to welcome all the participants who are out in the field and all those who are within the ranks, because this has been a very good opportunity for all of us to meet and interact. And I wish, as I prepare those that I have invited to appear and give us their reactions, I wish to appreciate the keenness that I have seen in the photos that have been posted by our colleagues, our head teachers and the boards of management seated under trees and other spaces within the Republic. It is quite encouraging. I wish to give a shout out to all the participants from Kamoi Comprehensive School, Kulmie Primary School in Mandera, Airstrip Primary School, Obambo Comprehensive School in Bita in Homa Bay, Githungo Primary School in Kieni in Nyeri, Kuoyo Junior, Holo Comprehensive School in Bumula, Kapretwa School in Saboti, Kaptama, FYM in Mount Elgon, Abasandaya Tani Primary School and Comprehensive School, Githiga Primary School, Kabaiture, Igembe, Imale School, Musa in Isinya, in Migom, in Transmara, Narok, Maziwani in Malindi, Galange Comprehensive School in Kitui. We have Lanet in Umoja, Nakuru. The list goes on, and I wish to acknowledge all who have participated and all who are listening in. Lord Dorian in Transmara, Karatina Urban School in Nyeri, Kainuk Girls in Turkana, Dorgabo Primary School in Marsabit. I really loved the photo with the land behind you. Kaditonge JS, Lengwenyi Comprehensive School. Those who say that they have challenges in network, but they are chasing it wherever they would find it. Jaridodi in Tana River, Githunguri Jet View in Other River from Machakos, Bukiri Primary School, Nyakobi, Kolanya, Kakurikit, Nyaisa, St. Teresa, Chakol, Nambale Urban School, Rutumo, Arashin, Subukia, Miga, Sirugoi in Ngoma, St. Francis in Other River, Chapanget, in Kiprorgo in Pureti, Kadungu, and a few others who may have registered as I was going through this particular list. Feel most appreciated. We feel the warmth, and this goes to acknowledge the effort that has gone into organizing this meeting, and appreciate those who have come in to participate. Having said that, our chief guest, I would like to invite a few of our participants to give their reactions and their comments. And I would like to start with Mr. Isaac Samuel Abasa from Hill School in Eldoret to give his reactions and his comments. Kindly, CPA Isaac Samuel, welcome on board. CPA Isaac Samuel, if you can hear me.
The panelist.
He is a panelist.
CPA, kindly turn on your microphone and your camera, because you have been given the right to speak, and we see that you're on the panel. So, moderator, perhaps move on to the next person as we try to address the issue.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. I would wish now to call in the participant by the name of Mr. Jared Olwich. He is a board member, and he will introduce himself and then pick up from that point. Kindly, Mr. Jared.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well, and I believe that the other participants can hear you. Welcome on board.
Thank you and welcome. My name is Jared Olwach. from the board chair, Surrey Comprehensive School in Awendo sub-county within Migori County.
Mr.
And,
Jared, can we see you? Maybe can you put your video recorder on?
Hello?
Can you?
Yes, Mr. Jared.
Thank you.
We can see the background, but we cannot see your face. Try to tilt the camera to suit the field of sight. Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Now you are able to see me.
Yes.
To the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service, the Chair and the CEO Teacher Service Commission, and all the directors, all the head teachers, fellow board members. Good morning.
Yes.
First and foremost, I wish to take this early opportunity to thank the Chief of Staff and the Head of Public Service for the initiative to engage in a public forum for the first time ever, an indication that the administration recognize and appreciate roles of the players within the sector. Notable progressive achievement that I would want to outline on behalf of the other board members is that we want to thank the government for the development of the Basic Education Act and all the circulars that have followed the Basic Education Act to ensure that our schools, the interests of the learners in our schools are upheld and are protected. One, I want to thank the government for the real-time capitation, and especially in this year 2026 first term, the capitation were disbursed to schools at the right time. And this has enabled the school management to plan for all the activities for the interest of the learners, going by the note that one of the assignment of the boards of management is to ensure good governance and to safeguard the interests of the learners. Two, development and adherence to procedures of the appointment of the board of management has enabled progressive management of schools for the benefits and the interests of the learners. Timely release, that is three, timely release of textbooks has enabled teachers to plan and execute syllabus coverage in full for the benefits of the learners. Fourth, thank the government for the audit of enrolled learners that was carried out late last year in third term to ensure, to cause transparency and accountability and seal corruption loopholes that has resulted to good governance.
Okay, Jared, Mr. Jared, try to wind up.
Yeah, I'm winding up. Now, on the desired one, I wish to appeal to the government that there is need to continue with the timely disbursement for the capitation as done in the first term of this year, and also ensure that the caption of learners in the naming system is continued so that each and every school gets the right capitation for the learners. Two, I want to suggest that sporting activity sponsorship has had the challenges because in the first place, the money that is sent for each learner in every school is also applied to sponsor the activities when they proceed to the sub-county and to the county level. And this one leaves the schools with the less capacity to handle activities.
We are limited on time. Thank you, Mr. Jared. We may receive your petition and
Lord,
your comments.
I just want to thank the government and all the stakeholders, and thank Kenya at.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jared Oluoch, Chairman of the Board of Sare Junior in Migori County. I now welcome on board our guest of honor. I welcome on board Mr. Isaac Samoei to make his brief comments. You have exactly 2 minutes, which should start running now. Kindly unmute, Mr. Isaac.
Thank you.
Carry on.
Thank you. The Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Koskei, all protocols of staff, good morning. My name is CPA Isaac Samoe, the Finance Officer, Hill School, Primary and Junior Secondary School in Eldoret, Kese Sub-County, Wasingishu County. Thank you for this webinar meeting. We thank the organizers, and to state a few of our roles as the Public Finance Officers or the PASAs. We assist in the preparation of financial management. We also assist in the budgeting. We also assist in advising our principals or head of our institution on financial matters. We also supervise in the non-teaching staff. We thank the ministry and the government of Kenya for the support they have given unto us as the school. We receive capitation yearly for free day junior secondary education and free primary education. We also thank the government for the construction of classrooms for JSS. We appreciate also for the supply of textbooks and exercise books in our institutions. And also, we appreciate the government also for the approval of the IPSAS template, whereby we use for reporting the junior secondary school financial reporting. We also thank the government for the support they have given unto us in day to day. We know in our institution, our accounting officers are head of institutions. We thank the ministry and the Teacher Service Commission, and we thank all teachers who assist in teaching our learners. We have also some challenges as the finance officers within our institutions. One of them, or some challenges we face in institution, is shortage of funds. We also have the challenges of shortage of classrooms within our institutions. Some schools are enrolled. So we request the ministry to assist in construction of more classrooms, to assist in construction of laboratories. And on human resource, we also request the ministry and the government of Kenya to assist in recruitment of support staff, essential and support staff. For example, the passers, we have the lab technicians, we have the storekeepers. If the ministry
Samoei, 30 seconds.
To assist or to absorb them into the ministry so that we perform our work. Otherwise, as our work, we thank the ministry. We have all integrity in our work and assist by assisting our head of institution or advising on matters with finances.
Okay, thank you very much.
Everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Samoei. We are pressed for time, and we wish to appreciate your presentation. And now I wish to call in Mr. Meshach Roche, the Vice Chair of KEKSHA, to give his remarks.
Thank you so much, Director.
Yes, we give you exactly 2 minutes so that you may give us time to carry on with the program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, though earlier had been prepared for 5, but I'll do the 2. I want to say Mr. Meshach Roche, the Vice National Chairman, KEKSHA, standing in for Mr. Fuad Ali, who is the National Chairman, could not be available. He has sent his apologies and given his write-up, which I'm just going to read through. On behalf of Kenya Comparative School Association, I wish to convey our sincere appreciation to the government for convening this important engagement with school leaders across the country. Such dialogue is vital in strengthening public service delivery within the education sector. KEKSHA particularly appreciates the key measures that the government has undertaken to support the implementation of the education reforms, specifically recruiting junior school teachers, allocating funds for teacher promotion, strengthening curriculum delivery through continuous teacher retooling and use of digital learning platforms, streamlining KMIS so as to enhance data and improving the timely disbursement of capitation. These measures have equally supported the primary and junior school leadership in navigating the transition to competency-based education and comprehensive school model. Chief of Staff, as we consolidate these gains, allow me to respectfully highlight a few areas that require continued attention to further strengthen service delivery at the school level. First, institutional alignment of the comprehensive school model, we humbly request the ministry to fast-track the rebranding of basic education institutions into comprehensive schools in order to ensure uniform institutional identity, governance clarity, and administrative coherence across the education system. In this regard, the association has already aligned itself with national reforms by rebranding from KEPSHA to KEKSHA. Second, in strengthening infrastructure for junior school learning. Effective delivery of junior school curriculum requires adequate learning facilities. We therefore request continued support in improving the learning infrastructure, including construction of science laboratories in junior schools based on assessed needs. Two, increasing primary school capitation to 2,300 per learner and providing dedicated support for co-curricular activities, which are essential for talent development and holistic learning. As the CBE reforms mature, it is important to continue strengthening continuous professional development and leadership training for both teachers and school heads. Finally, allow me briefly address the ongoing discussion regarding future leadership structure of junior schools. While we support reforms that strengthen learning outcomes, we respectfully urge that any decisions regarding the proposed installation of substantive junior school principals beginning January 2027 be approached through a structured and evidence-informed process. It is important to recall that Presidential Working Party on Education Reforms 2023 recommend the comprehensive school model, under which there is one institutional head who oversees the comprehensive school and two deputies managing both primary and junior school levels. Maintaining policy coherence with this framework will help avoid operational disruption and ensure stability in school leadership. Chief of Staff,
thank you,
I'm just
Mr.
summarizing. I just need a second, sir. Chief of Staff, our schools heads remain fully committed to delivering quality education and supporting the government reform agenda with continued collaboration between government and school leadership. We are confident that Kenya will successfully build strong, inclusive, and include future-ready comprehensive schools. I thank you for the opportunity and look forward to continued partnership in strengthening public service delivery in education. Yours, Fuad Ali, National Chairman, KEKSHA. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Meshak Roche, and the entire fraternity of the heads of institutions in the primary school sector. We appreciate the input and the information you have shared. Our chief guest, with the deep honor, I wish to request Mr. Duncan Kichamu to take over the session where we will have a plenary session and he will guide us through. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And sir, we want to quickly run a plenary session. Colleagues, you realize that I've lowered all the attendees' hands, so I will kindly request one or two people from the attendees, if you have any comment that you want to make, kindly raise up your hand so that we can update you and make you a panelist for you to speak. I'm seeing Meshak Kori. Meshak Kori, do you want to say something? Peter Mailu, I've given you rights to speak. Kindly comment if you are in a position to. Franklin Langat. Duncan Mulongo, I also see your hand is raised up.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
I'm Franklin Langat
Okay, proceed.
from Kapsimbiri Comprehensive School. And I have an issue with the capitation, which I have followed it up for a whole 1 year. That's never been.
Sorry, Franklin, we have lost you. Franklin, kindly unmute and speak.
Hello, sir.
Yes, please. 1 second.
Yeah, I'm saying we have a problem as a school, and my name is code is F9HC in comprehensive school, junior school. And we have followed the problem up to headquarters. I don't know what could be the problem as far as capitation is concerned, because you are saying capitation is to help the learners. What could be the problem, sir?
Thank you very much, Franklin. Next, Peter Mailu. Peter Mailu. We move on to Peter Meli. Churchill Obege Ombuya, you're also, if you're able to say something. Omar Raphael. Okay, I think most of us have raised our hands, but you're not speaking. So with that, I think.
Hello.
Sorry?
Hello.
Please
Hello.
proceed. Meshach, please proceed.
Thank you so much, moderator. I am Meshach from Mutoma Primary School, Mutoma Comprehensive School. I would like to thank you for this dialogue that you have given us, so that we may give out our views. About the capitation, we would like to thank the ministry for dispersing the capitation on time. And I would like to commend and also to recommend that in the coming days that you'll be doing so that we enable us to manage the learning institution on time. Because when we have no capitation and we understand that the management relies on the capitation to run the school, some of the programs are left out, and we have no money to run some of the programs. But if you disperse the capitation on time, it will enable us also the management and also the teaching and also the administration to run the school. The other issue was that we would like to request the ministry to facilitate the infrastructure funds for the running of institutions, because some of our schools are becoming dilapidated because of the infrastructural funds are not being dispersed on time, and we cannot use the other funds to run the infrastructural the development of the school. So I would like to request that if you look on that, when you are dispersing the capitation funds, also make sure that you check on the infrastructural funds also, so that we may be able to run the structural development of our schools as we run the other programs in the school. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you very much, Bwana Meshach. Next, David Maio, are you able to speak? Oscar Goodwa. So randomly, again, we are picking Kiplangat Yegon. I can see Madam Jacinta Owino. Sorry, that's Kiplangat Yegon. Please proceed.
Yes, this is Kiplanga Kekon from Bomet Town.
Proceed, Kiplagat.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to appreciate this opportunity that
Hello.
you've given us as a POM. And what I want, just an observation, I wanted to say such meeting enhance us as the POM to run the school. I can just suggest that we can have such meetings regularly. It enhances running smoothly of the schools. Otherwise, thank you very much and may God bless you.
Thank you.
As a POM.
Proceed kindly. That's Omar.
Okay.
Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you. This is Umar Raphael. I want to raise an issue with the ministry in particular and also your office because of this the capitation issue. We realize that CVE came with a lot of issues dealing with the projects. But when you overlook at what is there, what's there is just right from the initiation. So I want to request that you upgrade the capitation from the currently to 2,300 to. I want to also request that as you release the fund, you should also release the circulars to guide us. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you very much, Omar Raphael. Next, Peter Mailu. Nancy
Peter Mailu from Kitui County, Kitui Sub-County. My school is T Comprehensive School. Thank you for this opportunity. I would like to appreciate you for organizing this particular constructive forum whereby we are in a position to raise the problems affecting our school. One of the problems affecting our school is the enrollment keeps on increasing and we have got limited classrooms. Currently, I'm constructing in collaboration with my EMBO parents a new classroom so that I can cater for the increased enrollment. Another issue is that at the junior secondary school, we are lacking the laboratory and we're asking the ministry to organize on how we can come up with a elaborate laboratory in our school so that we can boost integrated science, which requires a lot of practicals. Again, I would like to mention the issue of network connectivity in our area. Currently, we are located somewhere at the school whereby we're in a position to access the network. So these are some of the challenges that we are facing in our region. And we urge the ministry to keep in touch with the school so that they can get the data affecting a particular school and also be in a position to keep making the environment learner friendly. Thank you very much and have a blessed session.
Thank you. Allow us now to finalize by listening to three ladies. We'll start with Nancy Kara, followed by Sarah Wanjala. That's Nancy.
Hello.
Nancy, proceed.
I'm Nancy Kara from Nyeri County, Ken West Sub-County. I've not been able to receive my capitation for junior school since that time last year. So I'm not able to know the problem that is there. So can you please assist me because running the school has become a big issue to me.
Thank you, Nancy. Next, we go to Lucy Ndu, followed by Elizabeth Were, and lastly, Judith Gowi. Any one of those who is ready? Lucy Ndu, Elizabeth Were, then Judith Gowi. Okay, since you are pressed with time, I will now want to welcome, no, he has left. Sorry, let me take this opportunity now to hand it over back to the Teacher Service Commission by inviting the chairperson who will now make his remarks and then proceed on to welcome our chief guest who is the Chief of Staff and Head of the Public Service. So, karibu sana Bwana Chair, Teacher Service Commission.
Thank you. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Yes, we can.
loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Chief and Head of Public Service, Mr. Felix Kosgei, the Principal Secretary, chairpersons and board members of various institutions in primary and comprehensive schools who are here today this morning. All participants present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my of heads of institutions and board of management and the deputies of schools who are charged with the responsibility of managing our schools in the entire country. This is one of very important meetings, and allow me to start by saying that TSC is one of the Chapter 15 commissions and independent offices, and is anchored on Article 248, Sub-Article 1 and 2 of the Constitution. It is independent and enjoys operational and financial autonomy. And in 2010, the commission was elevated to a concerned commission under Article 2.7, Sub-Article 1, while Sub-Article 2 gives the roles of the commission, whose mandate is to regulate the teaching service and undertake various teacher management functions. Relevant provisions of the Constitution are underpinned and operationalized by TSC Act 2012. This act provides the governance structure and further outlines the functions of the commission. In addition, it lays the foundation for policy and regulatory framework that elucidates the process and procedures relevant to the TSC mandate. The commission mandate is to give strategic direction and provide oversight to the secretariat headed by the CEO. The commission comprises of the chairperson and 9 other commissioners, and with the CEO, they form the board. Allow me to start, therefore, by appreciating the Chief of Staff and Head of Public Service for convening this important strategic consultative meeting that brings together all the key leaders in management of public primary schools and comprehensive schools, the first of its kind, I want to believe, since independence. These key stakeholders, they are very important in the education sector. The proactive approach, sir, will enhance service delivery, deepen understanding of the management of schools, and also understand the direction the government is taking. This all-of-government approach definitely is meant to enhance service delivery. Leveraging on technology, it has also become very easy, therefore, to get in touch with each and every one of us. I also want to recognize and appreciate the role each end of institutions, the deputies and teachers, and the chairpersons of the board of management of these schools have played in ensuring that the CBE and the CBC has really been done very well. That's why today we have transitioned grade 9 to grade 10. Congratulations, and as a commission, we thank you, the teaching fraternity of junior schools and primary schools. Sir, this engagement comes at a very critical moment when the government of Kenya is emphasizing efficiency, accountability, transparency, and effectiveness in service delivery across the public sector. Our primary schools are not just there for institutional learning. They are centers of national development where values, virtues, discipline, and knowledge are nurtured. The environment, therefore, within which these schools operate must reflect higher standards of professionalism, integrity, and accountability. In this regard, on behalf of the Teacher Service Commission, I want to assure all our teachers, the Board of Management, unrelenting commitment to ensuring that a competent, professional, and well-motivated teaching force capable of driving educational transformation through CBE and beyond is enhanced. And that's why our CEO was able to put it very clearly that the government, through the President, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, we have been able to recruit 100,000 teachers, and the majority of them actually are in junior schools. I want to thank the end of institutions for mentorship and coaching of our young teachers so that they can be able to deliver the curriculum appropriately. Promotions have also been there, and as it has been put across, over 274,000 teachers have been promoted. And I can reassure the teachers who are with us today that more promotions are coming because we have been given budgetary allocation of 2 billion more in next financial year. Our teachers, therefore, are pillars to curriculum implementation. Without their full understanding and commitment and empowerment, then it will not be very easy for us to realize the vision of education in this country. As a commission, our fundamental role we have delegated to the bones of management because it's important for us to ensure that service delivery is as close as possible to the citizens. That's why we have delegated our constitutional mandate, especially taking discipline to the bones of management. And I would like at this juncture to remind the end of institutions, together with the bones of management, to ensure that they have the following documents with them at all times when they are managing the schools: the Code of Regulation of Teachers, the Code of Conduct, and also TSC Act, as well as the Constitution, so that even when they are carrying out their mandate, which is delegated to them, then they do it within the legal framework. This consultative meeting underscores, therefore, the recognition of the roles of end teachers as integral members of public service entrusted in shaping the future of our nation. As members of public service, therefore, you have due responsibility. One, to teach in classes, and also to ensure that values and principles outlined in the constitutions are followed. The operating environment from which primary schools operate today is increasingly becoming complex, and therefore the school leaders are expected to manage academic performance, students' welfare, infrastructure development, staff management, financial accountability, and compliance with government regulations simultaneously. In addition, we are implementing transformative reforms in the education sector, which includes the competence-based approaches, digital integration, and enhanced governance framework. In that regard, you need to ensure that you work very closely with all arms of the government, as well as work well with the bones of management so that this can be realized. Effective governance, therefore, requires clarity of roles. Bones of management, you have to provide a strategic direction, oversight, governance, policy direction, or then teachers. They have to do the responsibility of day-to-day learning of the schools. In that regard, the parents and the government has invested very heavily, and therefore the board of management and the end teachers must give value for the resources that are entrusted on them. It is important that every decision made within the school environment is guided by the principles of transparency, accountability, and the best interest of the learners. Public resources, therefore, entrusted upon you must be utilized prudently, and every officer must recognize that stewardship of these resources is a sacred responsibility. Beyond systems and policies, the success of our schools depends on the mindset of the people who serve within them. The government has emphasized the transformation of public officers' mindset from a culture of entitlement to a culture of service. It is important to develop mindset that is positive, proactive, and resilient in outlook. Ladies and gentlemen, the success, therefore, of public schools requires strong collaboration among all stakeholders. Board of management must work very closely with the school administrators, the teachers, government agencies, and other stakeholders so that we can be able to succeed as an entity. The Teacher Service Commission, therefore, I would like to reemphasize, is committed to empowering teachers through policies, professional development, retooling, supportive working environment, and we do all this as we align ourselves with the broader vision on transforming public service. As a chairperson of Teacher Service Commission, I stress the importance of teaching teachers embracing the role as champions of constitutional values. This involves advocating for fairness, promoting equality, and ensuring that education services are centered on the needs of the learners. By doing so, We enhance public trust, which is very important, contribute to the transformation of Kenya's public service into a system that is responsive, ethical, and effective. This is in line with the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, which advocates that we ensure that no one is left behind. That's why, as a commission, we ensure that all schools are adequately staffed. There is staff rationalization to ensure that every learner has at least a teacher. I reaffirm our commitment to collaborating with all stakeholders to ensure that teachers continue to embody constitutional values and serve as pillars of national development. Together, we will work to ensure that teachers remain beacons of constitutional values, pillars of national development, and guiding lights for generations to come. I want to thank all of you. God bless you. God bless Kenya. And it's now my singular humble responsibility to welcome the head of public service, Mr. Kosgei, to address the gathering. Welcome, sir.
Apologies, Brian. We seem to be having a challenge with hearing both. Kindly sort out his microphone because we don't have sound. Colleagues, apologies for the technical hitch. They're trying to sort out the sound issues that our chief guest is facing and will be currently on. But even as that is done, maybe perhaps to use this opportunity to continue giving out shout outs to the different schools across the country that have, in one way or another, found out a way possible to be able to engage with us. So, Brian, I don't know if you are ready. Kimani, Mukui, kindly proceed with those shout outs.
Okay, thank you, Duncan. As we wait for the audio for our guest of honor to be sorted out, I wish to look again at the schools and the teachers who have joined us, the POMs that are on board. And I'll start with Olteani Primary School. We also have
1, 2, 3.
Ntuka.
1, 2, 3.
Ntuka Primary School. We have Gafuru.
Thank you, Kimani. I think now we're ready.
Okay, we have the guest of honor on board.
Yes.
Thank you.
Brian, now we are okay to proceed. We can hear both.
Thank you. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are loud and clear. Welcome.
The chairman of Teacher Service Commission, the CEO of Teacher Service Commission, senior Ministry of Education staff, all county and sub-county directors of education, all chairpersons and members of boards of management of our public primary schools, all head teachers of public primary schools, all deputy head teachers and senior teachers, school administration officers, and support staff. Today's meeting presents an important opportunity for us to engage candidly and build a common front in delivering the government's development agenda and at the bottom-up economic transformation agenda. This engagement forms part of a broader series of consultations with leaders across our education sector aimed at strengthening governance, improving performance, and reinforcing the values of public service within our schools. Indeed, this engagement comes against the backdrop of a similar national virtual meeting that was convened yesterday with the leadership of our secondary schools across the country. That discussion focused on strengthening governance, accountability, and service delivery within secondary schools institutions. Today's meeting, therefore, extends that important conversation to the leadership of our primary schools, which form the foundation upon which the entire education system rests. Public service is not merely about occupying positions within institutions. It is about embracing a commitment to discipline, accountability, professionalism, and service to the people of Kenya. Those entrusted with responsibilities within public institutions must always remember that their work ultimately serves the broader national interest. Our collective ambition as a country is to organize our public institutions in a manner that enables Kenya to steadily move towards higher standards of efficiency, discipline, and prosperity. Many nations that have achieved remarkable transformation have done so by building strong institutions supported by dedicated public servants committed to national progress. In this regard, the leadership of our primary schools occupies a particularly important place within the public service because primary education provides the fundamental stage upon which all further learning and national development depend. Allow me at this point to recognize and appreciate the work that teachers do every day in our primary schools. Teaching young children is not simply a profession. It is a calling. It requires patience, dedication, and a deep sense of responsibility. Primary school teachers occupy a very special place in the life of every Kenyan child. You are often the first teacher a child encounters in their educational journey. In many ways, you help shape how that child will view learning for the rest of their life. It is within your classroom that children first learn how to read, how to write, how to count, and how to understand the world around them. These are not small achievements. They are the very foundations upon which all future learning is built. Beyond academic knowledge, you also help children develop confidence, discipline, respect for others, and a sense of responsibility. Many of the values that guide people throughout their lives are first learned in primary schools. When a child learns to read their first sentence, solve their first mathematical problem, or stand before the class to answer a question, it is often because a teacher took the time to guide and encourage them. Many teachers go far beyond their formal duties. You support learners who may come from difficult backgrounds, encourage those who struggle with confidence, and provide guidance where children may not find it elsewhere. In many communities across our country, the primary school teacher is not only an educator, but also a mentor, a counselor, and a trusted member of the community. When we reflect on our own lives, most of us can easily remember the name of a primary school teacher who had a lasting impact on us. That is a kind of influence that you carry. For this reason, the respect associated with the title Mwalimu continues to carry deep meaning within our society. It represents the recognition that teachers help shape the future of our nation. On behalf of government and the people of Kenya, I therefore wish to express sincere appreciation for the work that you continue to do in nurturing our children and preparing them for the future. Ladies and gentlemen, primary schools occupy a unique and foundational place within our education system. They represent the first structured learning environment where children begin to interact with knowledge, discipline, and the responsibility of being part of a community. It is within our primary school that children begin to understand the importance of effort, teamwork, respect for others, and personal responsibility. These lessons, just as important as academic knowledge, they acquire. Primary education, therefore, plays a critical role not only in preparing learners for the next stages of schooling, but also in shaping the attitudes and values that will guide them throughout their lives. A child who develops strong foundations during primary school is more likely to progress successfully through secondary education and eventually contribute meaningful to society. Conversely, when the foundations of learning are weak, learners often struggle in later stages of education. This is why strengthening primary education remains one of the most important priorities for any nation that seeks long-term. Learners feel safe and parents have confidence in the institution and trusted with the education of their children. A well-led school fosters teamwork among its teachers, encourages professional growth, and ensures that every learner receives the attention and guidance necessary to succeed. Strong leadership also requires fairness and integrity in decision-making. School teachers must always place the interests of learners at the center of every decision taken within the institution. At the same time, Board of Management play an essential governance role in ensuring that schools remain accountable, transparent, and aligned with national education policies. Boards exist to provide oversight and strategic guidance, while supporting school leadership in strengthening institutional systems and maintaining high standards of management. When the relationship between school leadership and boards of management functions effectively, schools are able to operate smoothly and deliver better outcomes for learners. However, when roles and responsibilities are not clearly understood, misunderstandings may arise that interfere with the smooth management of schools. It is therefore important to maintain a clear distinction between governance and day-to-day school management. Boards provide oversight and policy guidelines, while head teachers and teachers carry the professional responsibility of running the institution. When each role is respected and performed responsibly, schools benefit from both strong leadership and effective governance. As public institutions, schools are entrusted with significant public resources and responsibilities. These responsibilities require strong systems of accountability, proper record keeping, and careful management of resources intended to support learning. The public rightly expects that institutions responsible for educating children will operate within integrity, transparency, and professionalism. For this reason, School leadership and boards of management must ensure that policies, regulations, and government guidelines governing schools' operations are faithfully implemented. Adherence to this framework not only protects public resources, but also strengthens confidence among parents and communities. At the same time, it is important to acknowledge that many schools across the country are managed diligently and responsibly by dedicated teachers and boards. However, experience within the education sector has also revealed certain management challenges in some institutions which require attention and corrective action. These challenges do not define the education sector as a whole, but addressing them is necessary to ensure that every school operates at the highest possible standard. Ladies and gentlemen, the purpose of highlighting these areas is not to single out institutions or individuals, but rather to strengthen the systems that support effective management within our schools. When governance structures function properly, schools are able to function and focus fully on their core mission of teaching and learning. Experience across the education sector has shown that some operational challenges arise not from the lack of commitment, but from weaknesses in institutional systems, procedures, or oversight. So addressing these gaps is therefore essential in strengthening confidence in the management of our schools. School leadership and boards of management must therefore remain vigilant in ensuring that the systems governing financial management, procurement, infrastructure development, and safeguarding of learners operate with integrity and accountability. In this regard, allow me to highlight several areas that require particular attention across our institutions, and I call them key governance and management issues requiring attention. The first one is weak procurement practices. It has been alluded to by an officer from the Ministry of Education. Some schools do not consistently follow established procurement procedures. This includes failure to apply competitive bidding processes, engagement of unqualified suppliers, or procurement decisions influenced by personal interests rather than institutional needs. The second one is conflict of interest within boards of management. There have been instances where individuals responsible for oversight also participates as suppliers of goods and services to the same institutions. Such practices undermine transparency and raise concerns regarding value for money. The third is poor management of school infrastructure. In some cases, existing facilities such as classrooms, sanitation facilities, and electrical systems are not maintained adequately. Neglecting maintenance not only increases long-term costs, but may also create unsafe environment for learners and teachers. The fourth is weak disaster preparedness. Schools must be prepared to respond to emergencies. This includes ensuring that the availability of fire safety equipment, clearly marked evacuation procedures, and adequate supervision during school activities. The fifth issue is abuse or mismanagement of development projects. School development initiatives, including construction of classrooms or other facilities, must always follow proper approvals and post-control mechanisms. Projects undertaken without proper planning or oversight risk becoming stalled or excessively costly. The sixth is weak oversight of school feeding programs. Where feeding programs exist, the procurement and management of school supplies must be handled with transparency and accountability to ensure that learners receive safe, quality, and adequate meals. Number 7 is inappropriate use of school facilities. School property, such as halls for those who have halls, fields for those who have fields, that is football fields, etc., or vehicles should only be used in accordance with established regulations. Unauthorized use for private or commercial activities undermines the integrity of the institutions. Number 8 is weak safeguarding systems for learners. Schools must maintain clear procedures for protecting learners from abuse, bullying, and misconduct. Safe reporting mechanisms and responsible supervision are essential in ensuring that learners feel protected within the school environment. Number 9 is irregular hiring of non-teaching staff. The recruitment of support staff must follow clear procedures to ensure fairness, transparency, and proper management of school payrolls. Number 10 is weak oversight of school assets. Schools must maintain accurate asset registers and inventory systems to safeguard public property and prevent misuse or loss. This includes making sure that all your school lands have titles, and therefore it is important to have security documents at every other time. Number 11 is inadequate communication with parents. Strong communication between schools and parents is essential in maintaining trust and ensuring that parents remain actively involved in the educational development of their children. And what I mean here is you need to have good relations with the stakeholders and the neighborhood. Number 12 is external interference in school management. Schools must remain professional institutions guided by policy and regulations. Attempts by external actors to influence admissions, procurement, or administrative decisions undermine the stability and fairness of school management. So you need to keep watch, you watch out on this and make sure that you report to your seniors whenever you see that external interference is coming in. The last one is the issue of weak monitoring by boards of management. Boards must actively fulfill their oversight role by reviewing school performance, financial reports, and compliance with government guidelines. Board of management should really do their job, and their job is clearly stated. They work through committees, and they know exactly what is supposed to be done. And therefore, there is no excuse by any board member not to put his or her foot down and demand for what is right to be done in his or her school. So addressing these concerns requires cooperation between teachers, school leadership, boards of management, and education authorities at all levels. Strengthening these systems to not only improve governance within our schools, but will also create a more stable and supportive environment for teachers to focus on their primary responsibility of guiding and nurturing learners. Ladies and gentlemen, as institutions that form part of the public service, our schools are entrusted with resources that are provided by government on behalf of the people of Kenya. These resources are intended to ensure that every child has access to quality education within a supportive and well-managed learning environment. Public education represents one of the most important national investments made by government. Through capitation, funding, and infrastructure development, significant resources are allocated each year to support the operations of schools across the country. These resources must therefore be managed with the highest standards of transparency, accountability, and responsibility. Every allocation made to schools is intended to directly support the learning and welfare of our children. School leadership and boards of management carry the responsibility of ensuring that these resources are used strictly for their intended purposes. Proper planning, careful budgeting, and accurate financial records are essential in ensuring that funds are utilized effectively. Prudent financial management also strengthens the confidence that parents and communities place in the institutions responsible for educating their children. At the same time, accurate information systems are essential in supporting effective planning and allocation of resources within the education sector. Government relies on education data captured through official systems to determine the resources required by schools, including the allocation of capitation funds and the planning of infrastructure development. Recent verification exercises have, however, revealed instances where discrepancies exist between the learner enrollment figures reported with the system and the number of learners physically present in some institutions. Such inconsistencies have serious implications for planning and resource allocation within the education sector. When enrollment figures are inaccurately reported, public funds intended to support genuine learners may be misdirected. This is not only undermine fairness in the distribution of resources, but also affect the ability of government to plan effectively for the needs of schools across the country. It is therefore essential that all information submitted through official education management system is accurate, verified, and consistent with the actual situation within each school. School leadership and boards of management must take personal responsibility for ensuring that the data submitted by their institutions reflects the true enrollment and operational status of the school. Ladies and gentlemen, strengthening accountability in the management of public resources remain a key priority within the public service. In this regard, my office has been actively promoting Zerofold audit campaign, an initiative aimed at encouraging public institutions to strengthen their internal audit systems and ensure full compliance with financial and administrative regulations. The objective of this initiative is not merely to detect errors after they occur, but rather to build systems that prevent mistakes, promote transparency, and ensure responsible use of public resources from the very outset. Schools, just like other public institutions, must align themselves with these principles by maintaining strong financial management systems, proper documentation, and effective internal oversight mechanisms. When these systems are functioning properly, institutions are able to operate efficiently while maintaining the confidence of citizens and oversight bodies. Ultimately, strong accountability systems protect both the institution and the individuals entrusted with its leadership. Before I conclude, I want to add one or two issues. Number one is that we acknowledge and we commend all teachers across the country, head teachers, deputy head teachers, senior teachers, and all teachers, that they work tirelessly, patriotically, and with a lot of focus in ensuring that our children are molded, taught, and finally, for their own success. We are also aware that you operate sometimes in very difficult conditions. Sometimes your schools are not built well, others are dilapidated, others don't even have proper offices, proper chairs, and many things that are required of us to ensure that there is proper running of the schools. But however, what you've done over the years has made us proud, because you have molded these children, you have understood the challenges that the country is facing, and we are seeing a lot of positive outcome from your dedication and selflessness. I want to also take this opportunity again to encourage all of us that despite all the challenges that we are facing, the government has done its best by increasing the number of teachers in schools. The past 3 years, the government has recruited 100,000 plus teachers. They have tried to deploy resources to construct schools, however limited it is, but the government is determined to ensure that they upgrade, they uplift, and rehabilitate schools that you are in. Of note is challenges that are societal in nature. We have observed that there is quite a number of our teachers that has fallen into the trap of alcohol and drug abuse, that have really sunk into this problem. However, my TSC is trying to take them to rehabilitation centers, taking them for treatment. There are some that continue to enter into that space. And we ask and we beg of you, please get out of it. Alcohol and drug abuse destroys not only yourself, but your family, and by extension, the community you are in and the Republic as a whole. Let us avoid illicit alcohol and drug abuse. And if you are drinking, please don't drink and go to school. You are a role model. All those children look up to you. And for that reason, they may copy what is not right for their lives in future. Secondly, is the issue of a lot of challenges that I know is the issue of balancing teaching and also at the same time management of these schools. There are several schools that have very, very few teachers. There are several schools that have very many teachers but very few students. And therefore, the balance is not fair. It becomes unfair for those who have too many children, but the staff complement is very less, very thin on the ground, while the others have a lot of time to do what they want to do. So it's an area that the government is trying to look at it, to balance it out, so that we have equitable number of teachers across the schools. We know most of you sometimes also face a lot of challenges in areas where you operate from. Sometimes you get a lot of hostility from parents, from communities, not because of your problem, but because they want you to operate in a particular manner that may not conform with your profession. I want to assure you that take courage, be that person who can change the environment that you are in. Be a good example to those who may be thinking otherwise and try to take up the responsibility or bring up that part of the community into the right state, so that you become one of those public servants that are helping the entire government to turn around the way our people look at things. We know that, again, many of us are still having challenges, many challenges like even housing. People walk far from their schools, especially those who are teaching away from their homes, because there are no housing facilities in schools. Sometimes even areas are so remote that you have to walk a long distances even to catch a bus or a boda to wherever you are going. Sometimes you are in a very remote environment where it is too expensive to travel to and from the school. But it takes men and women of courage it takes patriots to turn around a country. We want all of us to sacrifice as the government is trying to roll out infrastructure across the country, rolling out infrastructure like roads, electricity, water. It will happen. It may not happen now, but it will progressively happen. And we want you to really hold forth and help the communities that you are working in. For those who are around towns and even those who are far, I want to encourage you to take advantage of affordable housing program so that you can either buy a house near where you are to live in it, or buy a house where your choice is, either to live in it or your parents or your families live in it, or you can also even rent out. So this affordable housing program that its terms is very, 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 very attractive to all of us should be taken advantage of. Please think of affordable housing program and try to ensure that you are part of those who will be the beneficiaries as we are continuing to construct. For those who want to do side hustles, trying to look for 1 or 2 shillings over and above their teaching career, please take advantage of the subsidized fertilizer. Grow crops, be a farmer, and you will get not only a family that is well fed, but at the same time, you will get some income from the sale of the same. I want to encourage again all of us, and I want to thank those who have done it. Self-development is key. Don't reach a level where you will say you don't want to study more or to read more or to add 1 or 2 certificates. I want to encourage all of you to work very hard. Those who have not gone to university, please go to university. Those who have enrolled for diplomas, please enroll for diplomas and study hard and make sure that self-development becomes one of your critical agenda in your life, in your lives. Finally, we are all public servants. And I want to assure you that all of us, right from the smallest or the lowest office in the country that works as a government official or serves the people and in public offices, all of them, and that is all of us, right from the head of public service down to the last person there, we are all public servants, and we are expected to behave in a certain manner, to conduct ourselves in a certain manner, and to work and act as one cohesive government. You are a member of the government, and therefore, let us support the government. Let us work in these offices that God has given us, and let us serve the people of Kenya with dedication, selflessly, professionally, with integrity and transparency. So before I conclude, allow me to recognize and appreciate the important role played by the boards of management of our public primary schools. Many of you who serve on these boards bring valuable experience from different professional fields, including education, administration, finance, law, business, and community literacy. Your willingness to dedicate your time and expertise in supporting the management of schools is a demonstration of commitment to the development of our children and the progress of our community. Serving on a board of management requires patience, integrity, and a strong sense of public responsibility. Through your oversight and guidance, you help ensure that schools remain well-managed institutions that serve the interests of learners and the wider community. I therefore encourage all members of Board of Management to continue lending your experience, wisdom, and professional knowledge in strengthening the governance of our schools. When teachers, head teachers, boards of management, parents, and communities work together with a shared sense of purpose, our schools are better able to create environments where learners can grow, develop their talents, and achieve their potential. Let me conclude by expressing my appreciation to all those who serve in our public primary schools, as head teachers, deputy head teachers, and members of boards of management. The work you undertake is vital service to the nation, as you shape the minds, character, and aspiration of the young people entrusted to your care. I encourage you to continue serving with dedication, integrity, and a clear sense of purpose. Let us strengthen governance within our schools, safeguard public resources, and ensure that our institutions remain centers of discipline, excellence, and opportunity for every learner. If we remain steadfast in this shared responsibility, our primary schools will continue to nurture the capable and responsible citizens who will carry our nation forward. Thank you. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Asanteni sana. Mungu wabariki.
Our guest of honor, thank you very much, sir, for the remarks that you have given. It's a very clear message on the task that is ahead of us as a teacher and as we serve our nation. Thank you very much for the time you have taken. All that has been shared has been put into consideration, and we will put it into use going forward. At this particular point, I wish to thank all our participants, all our teachers out there, boards of management, wherever you may be. We have seen photos, and I know many other photos may be coming in, but we really want to appreciate all that you have done, the sacrifice, the time, the space that you have given, and the commitment that we have seen from the entire Republic. Looking at the list of those who have participated, it's a very good mosaic representation of our Republic. From all corners of the country, feel appreciated. Wherever you may be, we all belong to the same country and we are serving the same child. The recordings of all the presentations will be circulated to every participant through your individual emails. Of that, you are assured. Therefore, this is something that you can play and replay after this particular session. I may also advise every participant to go back to YouTube. This meeting, since it started, has been streaming live, and I know that there are many in their thousands who are watching this particular set of proceedings from YouTube. Those who are on Zoom, you can also go back to YouTube and watch the same over and over again. Let these messages that are very educative and the content that is very good sink and be put into use. And significantly, let it also be cascaded to our teachers and other members of our learning communities, wherever we may be. I wish to also thank the other contributors, distinguished guests who have been with us, and the patience that we have exercised since morning. To our Muslim brothers, I want to take this opportunity to wish you Ramadan Karim as you continue with the holy month of Ramadan. And with that, let me thank all the other facilitators from both the ministry, from the office of the head of public service, every person who has played a part in this particular presentation. We appreciate you. And with that, I wish to call upon myself to say a word so that we may end up with this particular meeting. Thank you very much. My name is Mokoi David, the Director, Teacher Discipline Management from Teachers Service Commission Headquarters. Let us pray. Everlasting Father, we come before you this afternoon that you have blessed us with. You gave us a new day, a day that we have never lived in before, and you have been with us ever since. We have seen your able hand in everything that we have done. Lord, how we pray that your love that has manifested in us be felt all over the country, in our lives, and in everything that our hands may find to do. Thank you for the gift of life. Thank you for the gift of one another. We have shared a lot of knowledge this morning, but it's only the wisdom that comes from you that can guide us in everything that we plan to do. We commit our plans unto you as the Bible has commanded us. Give us the strength and the presence of mind to execute all that we have covered this morning. Thank you for this idea, for this meeting that has brought us all together in the education fraternity, that we are able to share what can take our education sector forward, taking it forward. Thank you for our guest of honor. Thank you for all the distinguished contributors who have been with us, the chair of the commission, the CEO of the commission, and all the participants within our ranks. And thank you for every word spoken in this gathering. If we may have said a word that may have offended you, Lord, we pray that you may cleanse it and that you may forgive us of any sins and that we may have committed. May the words that we have shared find a promise and favor in you. Lord, we use this platform as a benchmark on what we need to do and what we require to achieve as a country. Use this nation as an example and all her people and our collective endeavors as we place them into your hands. Continue using us as vessels of honor. Lord, as we wind up this gathering, we embark on other activities. We pray that you release us in thy love and bind us in your love. And as we go to our various places of work and what we do, Lord, be with us from now and forevermore. This is our prayer of faith. In Jesus' name, we do pray, trusting and believing. Amen. Thank you, everybody. And I request that you may leave at your own leisure and pleasure. No one is being hurried. And this marks the end of our meeting. Thank you.